People you talking about, they spent money on white women. They set up bars and they went playing pool and golf for $1,000 a hole, and they were known to make millions and millions when there wasn't no high taxes, and they were not hindered by white America. They were allowed to see the white America is complete and close all the doors on me. I'm not allowed to work in America, out of America. I was stopped right in my prime just when I started making money. So you can't compare me with nobody like Joe Lewis or nobody.
If you are black, if you are brown, if you are indigenous, and if you are poor, this system is rigged and it is right to the core, and we gonna unbring it. That's it. And that's all.
That other kind of socialism that revolutionizes the workplace, brings democracy to the workplace for the first time.
So that's one way. And then the other thing is, in my more optimistic days, he's such a perfect endpoint of everything that is toxic and dysfunctional about the United States, about capitalism, about the 80s, that maybe this is the final sort of disgusting burst before we evolve or change to something better.
Talk about some things about why we need a new party. So I thought that'd be a good way to kind of do this. Why do we need a new party? We need a new party because both parties suck, John.
What are they talking about? Fortified. Are you fortified for the long run? Do you have your cemetery clothes on? Are you coffin ready to live and die for something bigger than you, like a fundamental transformation of a capitalist civilization?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Democracy Show. I'm your host, Kamali Rose. This is episode 23 of the Radical Democracy Show, and it is November 25th. We're kicking things off a little later than usual, had some technical difficulties, lots of things, just everything going wrong here. So just want to give you a heads up right off the top that this is going to be a bit of an experimental episode in a way, because I just don't, on a scale of 1 to confident, I feel like a 2 right now, in my ability to successfully, complete and just, provide you with some decent content here. So this is going to be a rough episode. I'll tell you that much. I usually feel at least 75-80% going into these shows. Today, I probably feel like about a 10, if I'm being all the way honest, and probably less than that. So I was quite on the fence of whether even to do this episode. And so there's a chance that I will just have to cut things short. If it's not feeling right, I'm just going to cut things short, and we'll pick up again tomorrow, or tomorrow's Thanksgiving. To anyone who celebrates that, I personally won't be celebrating. So maybe I can still do an episode because I need something to keep busy. Not sure how that'll work out in the I don't expect a ton of engagement if we're doing an episode on, that evening. Indigenous Peoples Day to some, I just want to I don't know how people, or no, that's Columbus Day that people celebrate, Indigenous Peoples Day. I think Thanksgiving is just like, we got to remember what the hell, what went down. But enjoy Thanksgiving, we shouldn't, time with family for sure. As long as your family is already in your bubble, people don't contribute to this pandemic right now. We are hitting record numbers at the moment for COVID-19. We had a day with over 180,000 cases. And we just gotta be more careful. So, regardless of what the government is, or the CDC, the CDC or the government at large is signaling to the people, what kind of mandates they put in place, we have to recognize, the danger at play here at hand, and know that other countries have been able to, by using, and honestly, if I'm being all the way real with y'all, I don't think America has any real hope to stop this pandemic short of a vaccine. Until we get a vaccine, I think we are going to still, amass record numbers of COVID cases and deaths from COVID, because there is at least, 72, almost 73 million people just went out and voted for Donald Trump. And all those people are most of those people are loyal followers of Trump, and they listen to him. They hear what he says. They hear him downplaying the virus. And we also have to remember, it's not just Donald Trump. All of these people, they are fine with letting people die, sacrificing a few 100,000 human lives, as long as it doesn't sacrifice all of the, the economy. So they will, put profits above people always, and they will look at this. It's just the capitalists looking out and saying, oh, people are going to spend, during Thanksgiving, all that, grocery stores, people buying food, travel, all that is good. That's a boon for the economy. They care about that more than they care about protecting, us and our communities. And so we have to acknowledge that. We need to recognize that, and we need to do what we can to try to keep safe and not continue the spread of this disease. So please, if you can, don't force it. Don't go outside your bubble. Like, it's not necessary. Just stick within your bubble. You should be with, hopefully with family. If not, you're just going to have to do something virtual or whatever the case is. But if you're not, just know, you're part of the problem there. Okay. So that's why we got record number of cases, because we just, we can't just do a solid. Other countries did a 4 to 6 week serious shutdown where you had 90+%, 95% plus mask wearing across the board. Other countries like in China were able to, keep deaths. They have 4 times the population of the US. We have over 250,000 deaths now from COVID-19. 250,000 deaths. If it kept, proportional to that in China, that would mean with 4 times the population, you would have 4 times those deaths. So at the same time that the US did 250,000, if China handled this situation as poorly as we did, and remember, the virus, it started in China apparently, so that means that it should have hit them the worst, right? And so, But keep in mind, they, so you would think that 4 times 250,000, that's 1 million deaths is what you would expect if they were just as bad as America. Does anybody know, trivia here, does anybody know how many people have died from COVID in China right now? Because it ain't a million. You know how many it is? 5,000. 5,000 people. And they have 4 times the population. That's 4 times more people to worry about, to also, that's a more denser populations, more, more densely populated cities. And so even with all of those conditions in place, they still somehow manage. And it's because other countries, for one, they're not on this stupid, pointless, just this split of this tribal Democrats versus Republican. It's totally partisan. Who's going to be wearing masks? Who's not wearing masks? Primarily, it's a partisan issue. All these issues, even when it comes to public safety, now suddenly public safety is a partisan issue where Democrats aren't going to believe that Trump could make a vaccine. I bet you got less Democrats accepting, and they've already done polling and it's shown, less Democrats would accept a vaccine that came, under Trump. And then you got, Republicans that also are just don't believe in the virus, period, because of all the rhetoric of Donald Trump. Some don't believe in the virus. Some people that are dying or have died of the virus all the way up until their deaths. There was a nurse that recently came out and talked about it. All the way up until their deaths, they, were saying, they were in disbelief. COVID doesn't exist. It's not real. So hold on one second. Quick thing I need to do. Can you get rid of my name down there? Yeah. All right. So yeah. So they, there's a set of people that don't even believe in this virus. So they're not going to be out there wearing masks and doing social distancing. They just don't believe it's real. And literally, even if it's killing them, they don't believe it's real. And that might be about half of our population, or at least a third, because that's really what the 70 million, would represent. That's about, 70, less than a quarter, actually, less than 25% of the population voted for Trump. Jesus Christ, nobody votes in this country. It's so wild how many people are non-voters out there. You guys, 70 million and 70 million, 70 million to about, 72 million to about 77, 78 million votes. And, and still you got about 100 million non-voters out there. So it's just wild to me. But anywho, please, that's a long-winded way of saying, please protect yourself. Take care of yourselves, take care of your family, your communities by maybe not going out with anyone that's not already in your bubble. If your family's in your bubble and you're keeping your bubble tight, please continue to do so. Let's respect the social distancing. I know I am. My bubble consists of literally 2 people that I don't wear masks around. There are 2 people that I do not wear a mask around. They're the people that I live with, essentially. Yeah, it's we gotta try to be careful. And I don't, you mask anywhere, anytime I go out, and I only go out to the grocery store, the bare necessities, the absolute bare necessities. So I know not everybody has the ability to do that. You got essential workers that are forced out into the condition. They're just like tossed out in there and they can't do anything about it. So of course, hopefully everyone knows I'm not speaking to them. I'm talking about people that have the ability to do so. Please, do so. If you got the privilege, you got the ability to do that. Please, take advantage of that privilege for the sake of the rest of the community. Try to stay safe. Sadly, if I'm being real, I don't think that the U.S. has the capacity to do it because of the fact that we are so partisan and tribal, and it's just a my team, your team thing where people are essentially like, you got Republicans that simply because a Democrat said it, or, or Trump said one thing, they're just literally just going to accept that and go with that and accept that as the norm. And that spells trouble for the rest of the country, unfortunately, because in a situation like this, to stop a pandemic, what you need is mask wearing, almost mandated, across the board. Not really. It shouldn't even take a mandate. It should just take, I don't want them to have to do it by mandate. I want them to be able to say, this is what's safe. And to see 95% of us go out there and do that. I don't need the authoritarianism. I would like to see it done, just out of concern for public safety, but unfortunately there's a large subset of our country that I don't think is going to accept that, and because of that I think this disease will continue to spread, but the rest of us can do our part to still slow it for sure, and at least keep it out of our, you know, out of our families, out of our communities, keep ourselves safe, keep ourselves alive. So, you know, take care of yourself. That's all I got to say to that. All right. Before I get on with the rest of the show, please do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, and you, please hit the like button down below. Smash that like button right now. I need you to right now, like right now, hit that like button. You got to do it. So support the show. That's the easiest way. It takes a half a second, just, you know, 2 seconds, you know, to scan there and find that like button right down below. All right. It's right there, and smash that button, and then subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And most importantly, seriously, I need everyone to start doing this. I need everyone watching, every single person watching. I need you to do this. I don't care how small you think your social media is. I need you to share this on social media. That is the critical ask that I am asking. Most of you watching right now, when we do these live episodes, you're subscribers of the show. We know our people are in here. And so what I need my people to do, my comrades to do, is to please share this out. You need to hit the share button, whatever social media you got a little bit of a following on, maybe your Facebook, if you talk politics on Facebook at all, and or you can share it via Messenger if you got people that that would be amenable to this kind of thing. If you know other fellow lefties or people that are on their way to the left, please send them our way. Folks that want to support independent media or Black media, please send them our way, and let them get a taste of some real left discourse. So share this out. Share it on Twitter. Please share it on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you got to share it on Twitter. Please just hit the share button. The title already pops up for you, and you just hit send. All right, you just hit tweet. So that's all you got to do. I usually take out when you hit the share button, it creates this little like it's like at YouTube. Just I delete that every time. I don't know why. I just don't. I want to be, supporting these bastards too much. Yes, demonetize me now, YouTube. I know you already will. Fine, go for it. So please do that. Please do that. And support that show and support the show in that fashion. That's all we need from you. All right. So one more thing before I go on, also need to mention, if you can afford to do so, please support the show on Ko-fi, coffee.com/radical democracy. That's ko-fi.com/radical democracy. Links in the description box below. Please, bottom of the description box, hit that link. If you're not already supporting us on Ko-fi, please do so. We are trying to, push people towards Ko-fi over Patreon, because if you're not already on Patreon, it's not already a convenience for you to be on Patreon, then we would ask that you please sign up on Ko-fi, because it just gets the money more directly to us. They take less fees. It's so, we end up being able to get more of that. That's less money going into a capitalist institution. And we are going to try our best to cycle our money into socialist or, worker cooperatives, union shops. Like, that's what we're looking for. So sorry to this people that are scared of the word socialist. All right. Don't worry. It's worker cooperatives and union shops is what we're looking to, put our money into and try to buy from those, folks. And so we will do our best to do that. All right. All right. So please support us in that fashion. And I just want to say a big shout out to the anonymous donor on Ko-fi. Actually, somebody tipped us $20 on Ko-fi. If that's you and you didn't mean to do it anonymously, please drop a comment and let us know so that we can shout you out, because I would love to shout you out, whoever you are. That's a really big tip. $20. That's a lot of money to give up. And I would love to shout you out. But if you just like to stay anonymous, and some folks do just want to stay anonymous, totally understand that and deeply appreciate it. So if you're watching this and it's you and you still want to stay anonymous, totally cool. And I just hope you get the thank you. I hope you hear this thank you. So thank you to whoever supported us on Ko-fi. Deeply appreciate that. All right. And I know I use my hands a lot because I'm half Italian and I talk with my hands, I noticed, and I move my hands a whole bunch. And I hope, let me know, is that annoying for y'all? Is my hand movements annoying? Do I I need to be like more like newsy and like, you know, I'm a newsman, I'm a news broadcaster, I sit still, I should get like a suit and a tie and like wear like suit and tie all the time. I'd still have like my hat and my nails done, but I don't give like that ain't changing. But I could rock a suit. You know, I'm gonna get a suit jacket so I can look like Kyle Kalinske. I'll just get a suit jacket, take my pants off, because we know Kyle does not wear pants under there. So I could do that. I wear pants under here, y'all. I got pants on. Y'all can see. I got pants on. All right, there are pants. Oh, I show my belly a little bit. Yo. I didn't mean to show my belly. There, I got pants on. All right. So I'm getting weird on here. I told you this was going to be a weird episode. All right. I told you it was going to get weird. You know what? And let me say something actually about these pants, because Tim Black was recently talking trash. Y'all can see I got a little booty here too. You know, Tim Black was recently talking trash about folks with what do you say, stretchy pants. So Tim Black out here talking trash about folks with stretchy pants out here. You know, I see you, Tim. I see you, Mr. Black. All right, boss man. Full disclosure, I'm a content editor for the Tim Black Show. So Tim Black is technically my boss. If you know Tim Black, he is the most watched independent Black left media. And so, you know, love what he does. Shout out to Tim Black and all the great work that he's doing. He is doing amazing work, by the way. Also, on a really serious note, I just want to, you know, say on air, you know, recently, about a week ago now, Tim Black's father passed away. He talked about it on his show. Milton, Big Moose Brooks. Big Moose was his nickname. And I just want to give a shout out to Tim Black for all the work that he does, and also send my condolences for his loss, and just say, you know, it sounds like his dad sounded like a great dude, and it's always tough, you know, losing someone. And so on a serious note, just, you know, my deepest condolences to Tim Black and his family for their loss. You know, so, you know, it's just so difficult losing someone close to you, and especially a parent, a sibling. You know, I've dealt with the loss of two of my siblings. Four of my siblings have passed. And two of them when I was alive, two of them before I was even born. Two of my siblings died. And so, yeah, that's, you know, four of my siblings out of 12. There's 12 of us all together. So 1/3 of my siblings have passed away. And that's a scary thing for me because, you know, it can happen to anyone at any time. We all saw, you know, Michael Brooks. Speaking of a Brooks, you know, Michael Brooks passed, and that was a shock to the left. And so we never know how long we have. It's always a blessing when we got, you know, the longer we get, you know, it's just a blessing to be here. And so, you know, my deepest condolences. You know, I know what it's like to lose somebody close to you, lose a family member close to you, and it's a really tough thing to deal with. So just hope that they're holding up strong. Tim Black is actually back now and recording again, so love to see that. Yeah. So just want to say that, make sure I say that. But also can't let him slide because he was he was coming down my neck on a recent episode of his, not recent, but about 2 weeks ago. He did an episode and he talked some trash about people that wear stretchy pants, you know, men wearing stretchy pants with his toxic masculinity. He knew it was toxic masculinity. He admitted it, you know, so just had to say that in case you watched Tim Black and you saw that episode. You know, I gotta call him. I gotta say my part. So thank you, FL. Thank you, FL. FL says, you know, LOL, I respect the pants. Thank you. All right. The pants are tight, literally and figuratively. And stop hating, Tim. Stop hating. All right. Please stop hating on us. All right. So what up, America? What up? What up, America says, my rule is as long as gesticulation, hand movements is relevant, it's helpful. Paint a picture. Thank you. Yeah. I it's not always relevant with me. Like, it's not always relevant. I just like moving my hands. So it's not always relevant, unfortunately. I'll try to make it relevant. I promise. I will try to make it relevant. Shout out to BD, you know, Brian Dube, aka BD Econ, and X for both subscribing for monthly subscriptions on Coffee. They both are subscribed at $10 a month. So thank you so damn much to both of you. I deeply appreciate that. All right. Well, we're already 20 minutes into this episode, technically 25 minutes really, and I haven't really gotten going on it. But at least I'm not feeling bad yet. All right. So I see your comment. Arif Hassan says Bloomberg, and I don't know what that means. What about Bloomberg, Arif? Talk to me. Tell me about Bloomberg. Are you saying Bloomberg got put into Biden's cabinet? Don't tell me that. That would be some breaking news. Like, don't tell me that, because I can't handle that news. So we'll see. All right, I got to get to some stories here. Let me see. I got to get to some stories here. So let's get to the news. Again, I'm warning everybody right now. I feel at about a 10% on this show. All right, I'm at about a 10% on my confidence, on my ability to execute this show correctly. I hope I can get some good clips out of this, but I just don't trust myself right now. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. So I got my super producer telling me, you got to get moving. But unfortunately, she doesn't realize that I'm incapable of getting moving right now. That's what I'm struggling with. All right. So I really can't, I'm having some trouble moving forward. I'm having some trouble getting through these stories. So not because they're difficult stories, like the material's not difficult. It's just, I'll say what it is, so let's get to it. All right. Joe Biden has been filling out his cabinet for the past week or so, and it's really shaping up, and we're really getting a good look now at what to expect from Joe Biden and his administration. And so this is the time that we need to be talking about this. I see some liberal discourse on Twitter and, on social media. I'm seeing some liberal discourse of like, oh, Joe Biden hasn't even started working yet. He hasn't even been inaugurated yet. Don't criticize him yet. Why don't you give the guy a chance to at least show what he can do? That's malarkey, damn it. All right. That's malarkey. All right. That's some cockamamie BS right there. All right. Are you kidding me? This is the time you have to criticize his administration picks. Who is it? Elizabeth Warren, who says personnel is policy. So if personnel is policy, then he's writing policy right now because he's selecting his personnel. All right. And he's not just selecting any personnel. He's selecting his top personnel right now. So if he's selecting his top personnel, this is the time that we need to pay attention, because all the people that said, these are the same people, the people that are saying that are the same people that said, you just got to vote for Joe Biden. And then after we get him elected, after we beat Donald Trump, then we can come in and we can push Biden to the left. Well, to everyone who said that, your ass better be out there. You should already be in the goddamn streets. These picks should be beyond the pale. Why aren't people out there protesting in the streets? The picks that he is making right now are if it were Donald Trump making these picks, everybody was saying, oh, it's so boring. It's Stephen Mnuchin, and it's the same shit. It's Wall Street and warmongers and the revolving door. So we're gonna take a look at some of Joe Biden's picks, and there is. This is the time, folks. This is the time. This is the time to start resisting. That you don't get to take a break. There's no vacation to be had here. We are facing, existential threats. And what we got up ahead of us is at best some return to status quo, moderate Republican is what we just elected. We elected like a George Bush light. And the idea that we should be, sitting on our hands or resting on our laurels, or taking a break or taking a vacation because, oh, Donald Trump is gone, so now everything's good to go. No, sorry. I just ripped this thing down. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing some serious damage here. See, they got me all worked up today. I'm going to have to go edit this out. I hate when that happens. Like, I just want some clean segments, and I'm not getting clean segments right now. Since I had to take a break, I'm just going to take a sip because sorry, y'all. It's hard out here for a pimp. All right. So Joe Biden, he's filling out his cabinet, and so far it's been some hot garbage. All right, some hot neoliberal corporatist trash. All right, and we need to call them out, and we need to and we need to resist, because I've actually seen, and I am some, there has been some resistance from progressive groups, and it may actually be having a slight impact. We'll see, because we're going to talk about some of these picks, and there's at least one that seems to be catching some resistance. We've heard the name of somebody that we're not going to talk about. We're not going to discuss in detail right now because it's only been floated and it's been really vaguely floated. So I don't even consider this something to discuss yet. But Joe Biden was talking about Rahm Emanuel. He was talking about adding Rahm Emanuel to his cabinet. So, that's and honestly, when he talked about Rahm Emanuel, he caught some major flack from progressive groups. People pushed back at that. That was so abhorrent that people actually pushed back. I mean, if you don't know who Rahm Emanuel is, he is the dude who covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald in Chicago, a black kid, Laquan McDonald, who was murdered by police. And then, for all intents and purposes, it has been made clear that Rahm Emanuel participated in a serious cover-up of that crime. And so you can look up who he is. He also shut down, I forget the exact number. It's 30 or more. It's definitely 20 or more public schools in Chicago. So he got into office. Was he the mayor of Chicago, I believe? And the dude just shut down half the damn schools there, half the public schools. He just shut down a whole bunch of public schools, and he's being floated for whatever the transportation, head of transportation, secretary of what the hell is it? Department of Transportation. I don't know what the hell the title is called, but he would be the head of the Department of Transportation. And this dude he's awful. He's just an awful neoliberal, to his core, to the gross little nasty rotten core inside of him. It's just the grossest neoliberal bullshit you've ever heard in your life. He's a terrible dude, and that dude's being floated right now. So all I'm saying is there's some terrible people out there, but there is some resistance from some progressive groups, not from these liberals, not from the liberals. Liberals chilling out. They out to brunch, all right now. But from some progressive groups, we've seen some pushback on Biden's picks, but not a ton, and he is not really listening. And so far, he just floated the name Rahm Emanuel out there, and then it's sort of been pulled back. We're not hearing about it right now. Who knows? He might still find a way to get him in the cabinet. There's other folks that he has floated that have also again received some pushback, and it slowed the process. At least doesn't mean that they're out of the running. They're really the still a likely pick for him. So let's get into that. Let's get into these specific cases, and we're going to talk about this Biden administration that is really shaping up to be, this is the typical, it's the swamp. It's going to be like a hashtag diversity swamp. And hashtag rainbow capitalism, hashtag girl boss. That's what we're dealing with here. All, just superficial, diversity, and diversity, it's what we're going to talk about. Diversity it's a good thing, but it can't be the only thing. If it's the only thing and that's what you consider progress and progression, then that's not the fight that I'm down to fight. I'm not looking to just have a colorful ruling class. I don't want a ruling class. I just don't want to be ruled by anyone. I don't want to be a wage slave anymore. So let's talk about some specific picks here, and see how they are weaponizing identity in all of these cases, and using, hiding behind the race, the gender of these picks. All right. So, and I'm going to use my blackness to call bullshit on the black picks. All right. So yes, I'm gonna pull out that race card, y'all. All right, I'm pulling that race card. I'm just gonna pull it out. All right, we just boom. All right, race card's coming out. All right, and I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna use my blackness to beat back some of this bullshit. All right, that they're trying to pull. All right, y'all, I got y'all. So this is what black leftists need to be doing. This is what we can do, and this is what all leftists need to do. use your identity. When they weaponize identity, the only defense against weaponized identity is to take your own identity and use that as a weapon back against them. All right, use it as a defense mechanism. Oh, you're saying, oh well, he's black, so it's diverse. No, we're gonna call out. Leave it to us. Get your people. Everybody collect your people. Like, you got to go out there and you got to collect your people. So if you're if you're a Jewish leftist, if you're a black leftist, if you're a woman leftist, if you're a trans leftist, if you're a Muslim leftist, if you're whatever you are, you got to go out there and you got to collect your people. So whenever they stick out one of these so-called diverse picks in our face, and they do they do nothing except throw their identity in our faces, then you got to use your identity as a as a shield for the rest of the left here, so that we don't get called. We're gonna see, if a Muslim person goes out there and accurately critiques substantively critiques a Jewish person that's been nominated to Biden's cabinet, then all of a sudden they're anti-Semitic. So we need our Jewish comrades to come out there and to call bullshit on that. And I miss Michael Brooks so damn much. I miss him. I've been reading his book, actually. I got it up there. I just cracked it open and started reading Michael Brooks' book finally. And it's amazing, and it's funny, and it's good. It's so informative. But I miss Michael Brooks so much because he was so good at doing this. And he would go on like Israeli TV, and he would go there and debate these people. And he's, I'm not in his league with debating, and I'm not a great debater right now. I hope to get better at it. Maybe we can do some debates on the show. I hope to get better at it. But as of right now, not so much. And so I really do. I miss Michael Brooks and his voice, and how he could beat back some of these bullshit anti-Semitic smears, where they try to smear somebody as being anti-Semitic, like Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib, when they're really just making substantive critiques of a right-wing Israeli government and not Jewish people. And so you should be able to do that. We should all be able to do it. Everybody should be able to critique a black candidate, or whatever, or nominee, but they'll try to use that against you. So, all right, that's a long-winded thing. I told you this was going to be a garbage episode. I'm just rambling on and not getting to this shit. And so let's get to it. Let's get to the damn news, right? All right. Whew, man, just rough today. It's just rough. Okay. So first story up. Like I said, I'm going to start off the top. I'm going to collect my people first. So as I promised, I will collect my people. So first up, let's get to the story. Hold on. My throat is just sore from yelling right now. All right. All right. So for our first story up today, I hope I can get through all of these. So for the position of head of the White House Office of Public Engagement, Joe Biden has nominated what would be, I believe, the first black person, or the highest, ranked black person named to his administration thus far. Cedric Richmond has been nominated. He's been nominated for a position where he would be, and I don't know if this is a Senate confirmed position, because it's an advisor position, and typically those are not Senate confirmed positions. So I think that this would just be a direct hire for Cedric Richmond to what is a senior advisor role in the Biden administration. It's the, again, head of the White House Office of Public Engagement, and this has caused it's created an uproar on the left for good reason with this pick. So let's get to it. First, we're going to take a look at this New York Times article on it, just to see how they're framing this pick here. So this from a New York Times article. titled Representative Cedric Richmond set to be a senior Biden advisor. Mr. Richmond, a House member from Louisiana for a decade, will be one of the highest ranking Black officials in the Biden administration as the head of the White House Office of Public Engagement. Oh, highest ranking Black officials. Yay. All right. So sorry, I can't. I can't today. All right. So let's hear a little bit about him from the perspective of the New York Times here. So they say, during the past 10 years, Representative Cedric L. Richmond of Louisiana has represented most of New Orleans in Congress, led the Congressional Black Caucus, and steadily emerged as one of the most influential Black voices on Capitol Hill, a reputation he cemented when he joined President-elect Joseph R. Biden Jr.'s campaign as its first national co-chairman. Now he is poised to become one of the highest-ranking Black officials in the Biden administration. Mr. Richmond, who maintains an extensive political network and is known for delivering candid advice, will be a senior advisor to Mr. Biden and the director of the White House Office of Public Engagement, roles that will allow him to build on his deep relationships in Congress with key political constituencies and with Mr. Biden himself. He's going to give straight advice, said Mark H. Memorial, the president of the National Urban League and a former mayor of New Orleans, who has known Mr. Richmond since his days serving in the Louisiana state legislature. He's not a yes man. They go on. It sends a really powerful signal to the Black community that Cedric is going to be in that core group, added Mr. Memorial, also describing Mr. Richmond as a, quote, team player. So he says it sends a really powerful signal to the Black community. So really powerful signal to the Black community. Keep that in mind, okay? Like Mr. Biden, Mr. Richmond had relatively moderate instincts on some of the most urgent political issues of the 2020 campaign. And his appointment drew an immediate rebuke from the Sunrise Movement, a group of progressive climate activists. His relationships extend across the spectrum of the Democratic caucus as well as across the aisle and include his fellow Louisianan Representative Steve Scalise, the Republican whip. Steve Scalise is that guy who got the Republican who got shot and then came back and defended, he's all still gung-ho about guns and not doing any kind of reforms whatsoever. So whatever, typical Republican, whatever. So let's check out that rebuke from the Sunrise Movement. Let's take a look at what that rebuke looked like. And then we'll see some of the response, the reaction to that rebuke. All right. So let's take a look at the Sunrise Movement, how they reacted to that, how the Sunrise Movement and why the Sunrise Movement. Remember, for anyone that doesn't know, they're a group created by the younger folks who are climate activists, and they are champions of the Green New Deal and have been fighting to progress that legislation. So let's take a look at their rebuke. This is an article out of Common Dreams, the same day that it was announced, that we read the last article from November 17th, titled, today feels like a bit betrayal, end quote. Sunrise Movement blast Biden pick a big oil-backed Cedric Richmond for key post. So they say, so let's take a look at this article by Jessica Corbett. Climate campaigners who rallied behind President-elect Joe Biden because President Donald Trump spent his first term serving corporate polluters were outraged Tuesday by reporting that Democratic Louisiana Congressman Cedric Richmond, who has raked in vast campaign contributions from the fossil fuel industry, is joining the incoming administration. Varshini Prakash of the Sunrise Movement, she's one of the, a high-ranking, official within the Sunrise Movement. I think, one of maybe a co-founder. I don't know her exact role there, but she is a high-ranking person within the organization. And she says, it's a quote, and it's an affront to young people who made President-elect Biden's victory possible. So the Sunrise Movement were folks that they gave Biden an F on climate change. They graded him as an F, but then as soon as he won the nomination, as soon as he honestly once it was clear that he was on track to win the nomination, Bernie withdrew from the race. They came in, stepped in, and endorsed Joe Biden. Even though they had given him an F, they still felt the need to endorse him. They had Howie Hawkins, a supporter of the Green New Deal, sitting there. Didn't think it was a good idea to maybe endorse him instead. Nope, they endorsed Joe Biden. They figured, hey, it's going to be Joe Biden or Donald Trump in there, right? So you got to endorse Joe Biden, and then you'll push him left. So, let's see what that looks like here. Let's give me one sec. So in a statement Tuesday, Varshini Prakash blasted the decision to hire Richmond in the face of calls for Biden to serve as a #climate president, appoint fierce progressives to his cabinet and other key posts in government, and, in the words of Greenpeace USA's new Just Recovery agenda released Tuesday, deliver the, quote, just, green, and peaceful future we deserve. So, quote, President-elect Biden ran on a promise to act decisively to combat the climate crisis, signed a pledge not to let his campaign be unduly influenced by fossil fuel corporations or their money, and said leaders of fossil fuel companies would not be involved in his transition, end quote, Prakash said. Young people, so quote, young people helped deliver him a landslide victory powered by historic youth turnout all across the country, with the hopes that those promises would extend to keeping fossil fuel corruption out of his administration. Let's see how that's working out for them. Prakash explained that, quote, today feels like a betrayal because one of President-elect Biden's very first hires for his new administration has taken more donations from the fossil fuel industry during his congressional career than nearly any other Democrat, cozied up to big oil and gas, and stayed silent and ignored meeting with organizations in his own community while they suffered from toxic pollution and sea level rise. They went on, that's a mistake, and it's an affront to young people who made President-elect Biden's victory possible, she added. President-elect Biden assured our movement he understands the urgency of this crisis. Now it's time for him to act like it. There's a tweet from Naomi Klein here. Where she says, Biden names Cedric Richmond to direct, quote, public engagement. Yet when residents of the state he represents came to talk about a cancer epidemic linked to an industry that showered him with campaign contributions, they report, quote, he was trying to brush us off. So that's the guy that's going to be leading the White House office of, quote, public engagement. The guy who does not engage with the public in his own damn community, where there was a place called, I'll see if they get into it in here. I don't think they get into it in this article here, but we'll take a look at more of this. So, okay, so yeah, let's keep reading from this article. Richmond has raked in that money. So they go into like explaining how much, Richmond has received. So during his 10 years in Congress, Richmond has received roughly $341,000 from donors in the oil and gas industry, the fifth highest total among House Democrats. Only 4 people take more money than him from the oil and gas industry. Includes donations from Entergy and electric and natural gas utility, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Phillips 66, and Valero Energy, and oil companies. So Richmond, let me continue on. Richmond has raked in that money while representing a congressional district that is home to 7 of 10 of the most air polluted census tracts in the country. Richmond has repeatedly broken with his party on major climate and environmental votes. During the climate crisis that has battered his home state of Louisiana, Richmond has joined with Republicans to vote to increase fossil fuel exports and promote pipeline development. He also voted against Democratic legislation to place pollution limits on fracking, and he voted for GOP legislation to limit the Obama administration's authority to more stringently regulate the practice. So the dude who was working against the Obama administration from the right has now been hired by Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is picking people that are to the right of Barack Obama and tried to push Obama from the right. The guy who was like totally silent on DAPL. They need to get somebody to the right of him on climate. The guy who supported and subsidize the fracking industry that has been destroying the planet. Obama, they're picking a guy to the right of that on climate. So Cedric Richmond, highest ranking black official. Apparently the black community is very, we're so excited, and this sends a strong message apparently to the black community. You know where there's a black community that it sends a strong message to? Back in goddamn Louisiana, where he was a damn congressperson, all right? So it was in New Orleans, and we all know about all the climate hazards. You're talking about a place that there's a place there called Cancer Alley, all right? There's a place called Cancer Alley there, all right? It's 7 of the 10 most toxically polluted districts. You got 7 of the 10 most air polluted census tracts in the country. So 7 this guy was the representative. He represents a district that includes 700,000 people. That's what's in a district, right? So that's the size of a district, 700,000 people. So within these 700,000 people, within those communities, they had 7 out of 10 of the most air polluted census tracts in the country. That's the guy. All right. And this is one of the first, these are one of the first 10 picks of his administration. Just keep in mind, the people that are being picked first are some of the most important roles in his administration. So he's signaling to all of us what to expect here. So when he hires these climate destroyers into his cabinet, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get more destruction of the climate and a guy who will engage with the public to tell us all to go F ourselves, while he brushes us off, apparently. But guess what, guys? He's black, so we should all be super happy because yay, #Black excellence. And this is so great that we got a black guy who's one of the worst offenders of our planet, one of the destroyers of our planet, one of the guys who is supporting that industry. Now we should just let that go on. All right. That's we should just roll with that. All right. So we got Cedric Richmond here, black guy. So that's all, that's what matters. You heard them talking about highest ranking black official. Yay. They will pick the worst of the worst people. I don't care what it is. They will find the worst people within your identity, and they will uplift those folks. X says they need to really extol the virtue. They need to really extol the virtues of melanin so we can appreciate the gravity of these picks. Yeah, it's so important. Or something. It's just so important. The quantity of melanin that their body, that they genetically produce. That is somehow a factor in how they will enact policy in this country. Apparently that somehow correlates. There's some correlation there that I'm just not freaking aware of. Tammy says that's why the slang term, quote, token exists. The only diversity they'll bring in are appearance deep only. Yes, this is absolute tokenism. X says, yeah, of course, won't see Nina in the cabinet. Exactly. Black woman there, strong black woman there. She is a powerful black woman. They don't want none of that. They don't want none of that because she's a leftist and she actually believes in helping people. Throughout the course of this episode, if depending on how much I get through, because honestly, things might wrap soon. I've already done an hour. I don't know how much of this I'm feeling right now. Y'all let me know. Let me know in the comments. Are you feeling this right now? Because if you're not feeling it, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this episode so far. So if y'all aren't feeling it, please be honest. Just let me know in the comments. If you're like, Kamali, you're off your game. This sucks, dude. Keep it moving. Just end this damn thing. Let me know and we can end it. We can cut it short. I've said enough. Oh shoot, I missed a big. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. Okay, I missed part of my announcements. I missed a major announcement in the beginning. I missed a major announcement. So damn it. All right. Anywho. All right. FL says no worries. Just go your natural flow. And if you're still feeling low or not having it, then totally fine to stop. Thank you so much, FL. I appreciate that. Deeply appreciate that. All right. So. All right. Tammy says, I think you're doing great, sweetie. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, sweetie. X says, always feeling it, bro. Thank you, X. I deeply appreciate that. Really deeply appreciate that. Thank y'all. Thanks, y'all. And what up, America says, keep it going. You're on it, huh? All right. Nice. Ian in the building. For anyone that doesn't know, What Up America, Ian, What Up America is the person that is responsible for our comrade responsible for the theme song to the show. So, shout out to What Up America for their amazing work there. And X, for anyone that's not aware, is the person that is responsible for our amazing logo. So this is what our community does. We got the best damn community that a comrade could ever ask for. And we're tiny right now. We're tiny. We need to grow. We're freaking tiny. All right. And I don't know why our freaking channel is not growing as fast as some of these other freaking leftist channels. And I'm jealous and I want to grow. All right. But I know what I'm not creating enough content right now. I'll keep it going. I got to get more content out. X says, love these rants. We think the same way. Appreciate you, X. Thank you so much. And there's our shout out to Ian, of course, always. What Up America? Thank you for what you do. To anyone that hasn't done so already, please hit the like button over there. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And big ask is that everybody share this out. We really need to start sharing it, because you know who's not sharing it? YouTube. YouTube ain't sharing this goddamn thing. We can't get, it's just not growing, and they're not. It's not because we're not making. Let me tell you. Listen. If we were making shit, like if our content was garbage, like I would just be like, I would acknowledge it and be like, you know what? We're not that good. It's, but no, we're better than like 90% of these left shows that I watch. All right. I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, sorry, not sorry. But we're better than a whole bunch of these goddamn white leftists. That's for damn sure. And this show should be growing. It should be growing faster than what it's doing. And I don't understand why it's not growing faster. And it's bugging me because I'm watching other shows grow faster. And I get it. We're not, I was producing content at a tremendous clip at one point. And you know what? The growth was a little bit faster back then. But there has been something has happened where they have it has just really slowed down recently, and I don't know why. And I want to change it. I want to fix it. So I'm trying to work on actually looking into getting some help with social media, because I'm I'm not a social media person, and I suck at it. And if it's left to me, and that's what it takes to grow, then we're gonna struggle. And I really need to find somebody to help me edit video. But paying is really tricky right now. We have to, develop, form an LLC so that we can hire folks officially. We're just not there yet. And so it's just tough. It's tough. But we want it. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. All right. So let me, What Up America says, amazing logo, X. X says, bro, you need to get on as a guest on some of these bigger channels and plug your channel. Yeah. I need to figure out how, you're going to see, I've actually reached out to a small leftist YouTubers. X says, totally agree. Y'all should have 1,000 viewers live. Dead ass serious. This show should be growing and we should have more viewers. We've had the same amount of viewers since 3 months ago. I don't understand why it's not growing a bit. We're not even, we're not hitting double digits on the stream right now. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't get it. Something's up. It's not being shown to enough people. It's not even I see 20 people click into it and then they click out or something because I'm garbage. No, nobody's seeing the shit. So I'm frustrated. I'm fucking frustrated because it just, I already know the left gets suppressed. Then when you're a black leftist, it just feels like it's even worse. The shit that I'm talking about is the most fringe stuff. I'm not out here championing Joe Biden and his bullshit. And, I'm just not carrying water for any of these folks. And so, it's bugging me. It's tripping me out. And it's kind of getting me down a bit. But I'm going to try to keep powering through. I'm going to try to make more content. It's tough right now. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to keep producing more. All right. My throat is all right. So. All right, folks, y'all see. Okay, yes. So let me do this. I meant to do this at the top of the show, and I'm so damn sorry. And I'm upset now that I didn't do this at the top of the show. It was one of the announcements I had mentioned, and then I got sidetracked and I just completely missed it. wish I could go back and change it, but I can't. So I want to give a shout out to a new leftist channel that I found. That was what I was just about to mention too. So want to give a big shout out to a fellow comrade, another black leftist. You can find him on YouTube at Leftist Reacts on YouTube. So just Leftist Reacts is the name of his channel. And you can also find a link in the description box below. So this is, going under, I want to do a new segment in solidarity, left solidarity, where we try to highlight some smaller leftist channels and try to promote them in the same way that I hope that some of the bigger channels will bring us in, and give us a shot and bring us onto their show and bring us onto their channel. Because what do I do? Do I reach out and say, hey, I want to come on your show? I don't think that's how it works, to be honest. I think that people have to find you and ask you to come on their show. I don't think you just go to somebody and you're like, hey, I want to appear on your show. I don't know. I've never done this. If anybody else, I'll tell you what you can do. If you have other leftists that you watch and you want to see me on their show, reach out to them. Please reach out and let them know. Because I'll tell you, I suck at that stuff. I struggle with that. And we all got to know where our shortcomings are. Like, if that's left up to me, it ain't going to happen. If that's the way I got to grow, it's not going to happen because I struggle with writing. And so if I try to write stuff to people, I have this thing, my brain is broken at some point and I'm too much of a perfectionist to a fault. And I just can't even, I never feel like I have the, worthy enough words to say to people. And so I just I can't do it. I feel like I'm not worthy. I feel like I'm not worth it. I'm wasting their time. Oh, they're better than me. They're bigger than me. And so X says you're worthy. No question. You'd be a great guest. Tell your boss to lend a hand. Yeah. I've thought about that. I'm gonna, he just went through some shit and I definitely won't do it right now. But at some point I should ask him. He actually said, he's mentioned before, just on his show, that if you're another leftist and you have a channel or anything you want to promote, hit him up and he'll retweet you or whatever. So I know that he wants to support other leftists and smaller leftists. And so honestly, he's dropped a comment on a video that I did. I covered when he talks about my boss, he's talking about Tim Black. So I did an episode, I did a segment about him when he gave a speech at the People's Convention. Great speech. Check out the segment that I did on it. And he dropped a comment on there and was like, hey, I got, I'm keeping an eye on you. And so I definitely think that, I'll get to that point. Would love to be on your show, Mr. Black. So definitely have me on sometime. Please have me on, brother. I'm sure I could say it to him more directly, but look at that. We email back and forth. I email Tim Black all the time because I email him, whenever I edit clips of his usually Thursday, Friday night shows. I edit clips for him and then they post them to Instagram, Facebook, some other places, sometimes YouTube. And so I'm back and forth with him all the time. And he's so good he's so responsive. And I'm like, dude, how can you be so damn responsive? And you're way busier. You got 150 times the subscribers that I got. And somehow you're better than me at responding. It's amazing. He works his ass off and, he deserves all of what he has. He deserves a whole lot more. His channel should be way bigger than it is. He talks about the same thing. I actually meant to cut up a clip of Tim Black talking about the same thing. What the hell is it with, black leftists just ain't getting the respect we deserve. What Up America, if we want to drop that comment back up, What Up America said, sorry, y'all. What Up America said, your streams are probably triggering the AI with all the more revolutionary. Oh, sorry. Yep. Your streams are probably triggering the AI with all the more revolutionary content. Yes, I believe that it is. Literally, every time I write the word black people in the title of my video, if I write the word black people, it is immediately demonetized. Right now, so I got monetization on YouTube, and I'm honestly as soon as I hit $100 of ad revenue, as soon as I get to $100, which is the number you have to get to in order to withdraw money from the ad revenue program on YouTube, or the monetization program on YouTube, as soon as I can get to that and I take out that $100, I'm probably going to end monetization on my videos and stop that. I don't want to use ads anymore. I don't like it's a terrible trade-off that you don't get a ton of money from it. And I'd rather just not make my videos. I'd rather do it without ads, just make it ad free. It's a better viewing experience for people that are watching. And I'd rather not have to have you deal with ads and deal with the advertisers and the BS that they push. I don't want you to have to be bombarded by that while you're watching my show. And so folks like Democracy at Work, they purposefully set out to, avoid doing any ads on their channel. And what they ask for to replace that is people supporting the show. We need more folks that are supporting the channel, more folks that are signing up, subscribing, that sort of thing. But I get bummed out when I see, like, why the hell, 6 people watching right now. I got nearly 1,200 subscribers, but not everybody, people don't get the notifications for this thing. Like people, my producer Tammy, she's signed up and subscribed and stuff. She got, notifications selected on the channel, and sometimes she'll get the notification like an hour after the show starts, or later, or never get a notification about it. So they make you like go in there and set a reminder, and if you don't find it and set a reminder in advance, then you don't even know about it, you don't get the alert about it. And so it just doesn't, it's like our videos don't get recommended on other people's videos. It doesn't pop up when you're watching somebody else. I'll watch some other videos, and then out of nowhere, like some Ben Shapiro shit will pop up on mine, even though I'm a leftist. Like out of nowhere, Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro all of a sudden like playing on my thing when I just leave it on autoplay. It's like all of a sudden they pop up for me. But if you're watching some right-wing channel, you're not gonna suddenly see my thing pop up on there. It's like here's an altering viewpoint you might want to listen to. Not happening. So the only way we're going to grow this channel is literally just with our own, with us doing some wild stuff. I'm going to start to try to diversify my content a little bit, maybe start trying to do some more interviews. I can bring in other people and their audience to the show. Maybe, I didn't finish my shout out to Leftist Reacts, but, let me do that real quick. So sorry, this is a garbage episode, just a trash episode. If you're watching right now and you're not a long time subscriber of the show, I hope you don't judge me based on this episode. This episode has been trash, and I don't even like. I'm my heart's halfway in it. I'm probably gonna cut it short. Yeah, this is important stuff, and I need to cover this. Like, I want to cover this stuff because this is important stuff. But it just didn't come together the way that I wanted it to in time, and it's really tough. And I felt the need to like get out there and make more content because I feel like my channel is not growing enough, and so I got to make the content. But I want to make good content. But here I am feeling like I'm forcing it, and like I'm not giving you good content. So, it's all you see me just. I'm a mess right now. All right, so can we pull back that Leftist Reacts thing, and because I want to shout him out one more time and do this correctly, because I want to talk a little bit about his channel and tell people what it is. This has been just I'm deeply sorry. X says hang in there. Appreciate it, comrade. Appreciate the hell out of it, y'all. Thanks for all the support. So, all right, as part of a new segment that I want to do, I want to start to shout out and show some solidarity, show some true, build a united left, like we talked about on the show. In order to build a united left, in order to show solidarity with fellow leftists, I want to highlight some other left YouTubers. Preferably, they will be people that are under 1,000 subscribers or have, lesser subscribers, like under 100,000 subscribers. It will be my goal, at least, smaller channels. And I guess 100,000, I'll call it less than 100,000, call it small. But I really want to try to, support these folks in the way that I hope that other leftists will support our show. These bigger leftists will support our show, will support our channel. So, big shout out. Seriously, I checked out, I found Leftist Reacts. It's J Dubs is the person that does the show, and I found him on Twitter. Initially found him on Twitter. We followed each other on Twitter, and then I saw that he had a YouTube link in his bio on Twitter. So I clicked on it, checked it out. He's only got 50. He's got less than 60 subscribers right now. So seriously, if you're watching this at any point, I'm gonna cut this and clip this. And if you're watching the clip of it, or if you're watching this live right now, I want you to do me a favor and seriously find the link in the description box below. And what you can do is, if you have like a little middle scrolly button on your mouse, if you got a little middle scrolly button like that, like this, click that middle scrolly button on the link. All right. And that'll open up the link in a new tab, or you can right click it and click open link in new tab. I don't want you to click out of it. I think honestly, if you click the link in the description, I think if you click a link in the description, it'll automatically open a new window, but I'm not sure about that. It might open in the same window, which is stupid and annoying. But what you need to do is just I need you to right now, seriously, right now, we're going to do this together. If you're not already subscribed to Leftist Reacts, I see 6 people watching. Open up the description box, click the link in the description box, try to right click it and open it make sure you open it in a new tab, damn it. All right. And subscribe to that channel right now. So I'm going to take a look at the channel, and I'm going to look at it myself, and see if his subscribers go up to over 60. Let's get him over 60 subscribers right now. All right. I want to get him over 60. He had like 57 the last time I looked. Same window stops your video. What up, America said. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for checking that. So that's stupid. That's annoying. So you need to right click it and say open a new tab, or hit that middle click button, the scroll wheel, and that'll automatically open it in a new tab on Chrome and Firefox and every browser I can think of. And so I want you to do it right now with me, and I'm going to check it out and make sure that I want to see that that it actually goes up here, and I want to see him go over 60 subscribers. All right. So I'm glad that did that. Yes, we got him to 60. Nice. He's at 60. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you to my folks. All right. This is how we support fellow leftists. This is what we got to do. I checked it, and let me tell you, you won't be disappointed. He got some good content. I checked out his content. I watched a bunch of his videos last night. I just went through a good slate of them. I also reached out to him on his channel so far, not on Twitter yet. I will reach out to him on Twitter if he doesn't respond to me on Twitter. I told him to reach out on Twitter. Told him that I would love to bring him on the show. So I'm hoping to get him on the show. J-Dubs from Leftist Reacts. Check out some of his videos. He does really great like reaction videos. A lot of it is him reacting to like conservative content, which I can't watch. So he's doing the Lord's work, like out here watching these like conservatives and stuff like that. I just don't do it. That's not how I want to spend my time. So like I can't. I know eventually I'll need to engage, and because I want to engage eventually, and I will engage more with conservatives. Like, don't get me wrong. Like there's a whole bunch of places that I want to, try to bridge the gap, between the left and the right, and try to start to get people to focus less on left versus right and more on top versus bottom, right? Because that's where the real fight needs to happen. They want us to fight a culture war between the left and the right, the black and the white, the native and the immigrant, or foreign born, the women and the men, the trans and the cis, the gay and the straight, the religious and the atheist. They just want us to divide even the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews. They try to divide us up along as many arbitrary lines as possible, so that we fight over this culture war with each other. Oh, pro-abortion, not, like they want to get us to fight this culture war, so that we don't focus on the class war at hand. And that's the real war that they are, the people in the ruling class, they are totally aware of the class war that's ongoing. It's all of us that aren't even aware that the war is happening. And when you're not even aware of it, there's nothing you can do to fight if you're not even aware that it's happening. So, this is what we need to do. Definitely, I love the work that he's doing over there. Breaking down these conservatives. He tries to debunk their arguments, and it's good because it creates a space where conservatives end up. I noticed on his videos a lot of conservatives commenting on his videos, so I think that's good. Like, it opens up the space, because when you're referencing the people that they watch, they end up searching for those names and finding your content, and then they come in, and it opens up a space to try to bring people over. And my fight is, honestly, I don't want to, my goal isn't to have to try to fight to bring people from the right to the left. Honestly, first I would like to focus on the people that already agree with us on all the policies. They just checked out of politics because it's not working for them, and because both parties suck, Johnson, and they've all left us behind, and they've ignored the pain of working class and poor people. And so I totally get why 100 million people just don't give a damn enough to vote for either of these parties, because nothing will fundamentally change. And the point of this episode was supposed to be to show you how nothing is going to fundamentally change with these picks that Biden is making. He is setting it up and showing us that nothing will fundamentally change. Most of these picks are like Obama era picks. It's literally setting us back up into the same situation that led us into Trump. They're setting up the same exact situation that led to Donald Trump. And that's what people are like cheering on right now. And we got some of the weakest resistance, even from people that I generally respect. I've seen really weak resistance. So check out Leftist Reacts, what he's doing over there. It's good content. And I know that you'll like it if you check it out. So I hope everyone did that. I see 6 of us watching. I hope everyone went over and did it. I know at least I saw at least 3 of us. So great. Appreciate it. You can also find him on Twitter and give him a follow on Twitter as well. Great point. So please find Leftist Reacts on Twitter and give him a shout there as well. You just give him a follow over on Twitter as well. So again, no comrades under 1K, and we need to lift up our comrades. And I want to help use my platform, since I have a slightly bigger platform, to help platform some of these smaller leftists as well. And hopefully it just plays out. In I've been trying to do that. The Vanguard is a slightly smaller channel than mine right now, and we had them on, and their channel is growing rapidly. They make a ton of content. It's 2 of them. There's only one of me, unfortunately, y'all. So I just cannot produce content at the same rate as them. And they do a lot of interviews with a lot of big names. And I need to start reaching out. And breaking down that barrier, feeling more comfortable doing so. And just let it, what's the worst that can happen? The interview doesn't go well. I do poorly or something, and then they don't come back or something, worst case scenario. Like, I'll get better. I'll learn. I'll get better. I don't have some background in journalism. I didn't go to school for this stuff. I was a software engineer. I never did any of this stuff. I'm just a disgruntled American working class person who is sick of the system and just sick of what I'm seeing, and noticed that there was something missing in the left discourse, and particularly in like black left and black media discourse and left media discourse. I just noticed that there was a void to fill there with. I don't see enough people focusing on that fundamental change of building democracy in the workplace and ending the employer-employee relationship. If we are not laser focused on that, I think that we are on the wrong path. And I would like to do my tiny little part to try to push us along on that path. And so, along that way, though, I would like to build a unified left. And so, today we're bigging up and hyping up Leftist Reacts. Give him a follow. Give him a follow on Twitter. Send him a message. Let him know that you found him through at On to the Fifth. Hopefully he gets the message and sees that he needs to get on the show, and maybe he'll have me on his show. I don't know. He does reaction videos. I love reacting to some stuff. So J-Dubs, if you watch this, please have me on your show as well. Love to be on your show. Come on this show. We'd love to have you on here. The community, I know, would love you. I've watched a bunch of your videos. Love what you're doing. Keep up the great work, by the way, brother. Like, keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing great stuff already. He's only got 60 subscribers, but he's already putting out a ton of great content. So keep that up in your channel. You'll be at 1,000 subscribers in no time. I promise you that, comrade. X says, yeah, but you have the gift of gab. Thank you so much, X. I appreciate that. I'm a talker, not a writer, as you can see. And so I do really well talking. I don't do so well writing. There are some leftist shows that don't do interviews and don't have other people on, but they do go on sometimes on other people's shows now. Like Kyle Kalinske is sort of the model for me for that. Like, he was the person that I was kind of modeling initially. And, obviously, the Michael Brook show has much more guests on there, and so he does have more guests on, but it's not like every show. But he does have a nice range of guests. Not always like some names that he had. Brianna Joy Gray, Malika Jabali, who's that guy? Milton. Not Friedman. I forget. He's like this. He studies like African, just history and movements and stuff. I'm Milton Alamadi, I believe his name is. Alamadi, I believe. So he has on these great folks that Richard Wolff, he has on, like, dude, that like I would love to have Richard Wolff. You've seen how many times I've used Richard Wolff clips of Richard Wolff. Like, I would love to get Richard Wolff on the show at some point. I got to reach out, though. I got to start reaching out, and making it happen. All right. This is a terrible episode, but you know what? Ain't nobody watching right now, so it don't matter. It's just us and our people. And I could have done this as a little private thing, because what the hell? It's not like YouTube's gonna to go and promote this damn thing. So, please, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. I don't know why you would do that for today, because there's nothing to like about this video today. But do me the favor anyway, smash that like button. All right. And I know all y'all subscribed, but share it out. It's a hot mess. All right. Okay. At least I hopefully got enough of that clip that I can clip that up and turn that into a clip for Leftist Reacts, because I would like it to be a clip, because I'll be honest, the clips, they get a lot more views than the live shows at this point. So yeah, clips get a lot more views. They tend to, I'll say, they have the potential to get more. They tend to get more views. Plus, you can get like 10, 5. I can usually get 4 or 5 clips at least out of an episode, and each one of those clips will get like 40, 50 views usually, at least. Some will end up getting 100 or more. I see some people getting like hundreds of views on their thing. Oh, did I see Mill in the building? Oh, what's up, Millie? What's up, Millie? Millie, why are you coming here on the worst episode of my show? Don't come watch this episode right now, okay? This is the worst episode of this show, all right? We got Millie in the building. What's up to Millie? All right, Millie. Millie says, love supporting Kamali. You're so, I love you, Millie. Mill's awesome. Thank you so much, Millie. Appreciate that. But really, this episode has been terrible. So there's nothing nobody should be supporting this right now. This has been a terrible episode. All right, y'all. All right. So, all right. Let's do it. All right. We'll keep, I'll try to keep going. We'll see what I can get done, because I know I'm floundering here. Oh, I needed to show you this. I freaking missed this on the other thing. I can't believe I missed this. I am doing so poorly with this. X says, I love you. I love you too, X. Thank you so much. I love you too. Seriously, comrade. Nothing but love. Tammy says, X is feeling things tonight. Yes, indeed. Always appreciate that. Tammy says, I'm here for it. Yes, absolutely. And what up says, you fine, homie G. Thank you so much. Y'all are all so supportive. I love my community. I love y'all so freaking much. I just want to hug all y'all. I just want to hug my community. Like, y'all are so great. Y'all are all awesome.
Virtual hug is a pandemic.
Yes, virtual hug, because it's a pandemic, as my producer says back there. Tammy, the producer in the background, should be hopping on the mic to say that, but that's okay. All right, that's okay. We're gonna get her on the mic more. Don't worry, y'all. We got her the mic. We gonna get her on the mic. It's just gotta be. It's gotta be authentic. It's just gotta be authentic. It gotta come out naturally, and we'll build up to it. It's building up a comfort. So. Also, we're still figuring out the acoustics here and trying to figure out the acoustics. So, all right. I keep saying I'm going to get on with it, but I'm not getting on with it. I don't know what's up. This is my worst thing. I missed a part of the last show, but you know what? I'm just going to present this little last bit, because I'm hoping that it's not going to happen. I promise you. Maybe I will see this bit. Kamali, like, I'm going to do this right now so that I know this will be the flagging when I'm scrubbing through the video. I'll know that I was doing this, and it's like, okay, this is the part that I need to grab and clip back with the old clip that I was doing before, because I missed this part. So on the topic of Cedric Richmond, I have to show you a freaking tweet from the establishment. This is a so-called New York Times journalist tweeting out, and I got to show you what they tweeted out on the topic of Cedric Richmond, in case you think that this thing is a joke when I say they will weaponize identity. X says in a toity English accent, Cedric. I can't do it. Why can't I do an English accent right now? Cedric. So yes, that's Cedric Richmond, not Cedric, because it just couldn't be Cedric, right? If you're gonna say the name, spell the name differently, pronounce the name differently, you gotta spell it differently too, to give us some context clues. Damn it! I say this as a person who's named Kamali, but names are beautiful. I love unique names, but Cedric, is just Cedric with a freaking, like you said, the like pretentious British accent laid on top of it. What the hell is Cedric? I don't know. All right. Okay, so So Tammy says that I'll hop on for pieces I've prepped for, like that cringy interracial couples article about Kamala Harris and her husband for next time. Such a weird article. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll save it for next episode because this episode has been hot garbage. And so I'll save that for next episode because I could do that. I could honestly present that better than I can present anything I have to present tonight. And I don't know why I'm pushing it till tomorrow, but I'm pushing it to tomorrow, y'all. And it'll be better. It'll be better anyway. We won't have to deal with the acoustic situation, and Tammy will be able to jump on for that. So I say tomorrow, hey, folks that are here right now, do you think it makes any sense to try to do an episode tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day? I don't intend to celebrate. I don't, I'm for reasons, personal reasons. I ain't got no family to celebrate with up here. Unfortunately, me and my family, we are all, what do you call it? Estranged. We're all estranged. So me and my family are like estranged. I have no family support. Unfortunately, I ain't got no family. So Mill and Tammy are my family. Kwame, that's family. Dave, Jamiko, the producer, that's family. And all of our comrades here, we family, so y'all my family. All right. Y'all my family. So and Mill now knows that I ain't going with my family, so you're gonna have to tell Mill a different excuse, because now Mill knows I ain't gonna be with my actual family tomorrow. But Mill, I still can't. I still can't. We'll talk. Anywho. So let me I hope to get to that piece on we'll definitely get to it. Let me know what y'all think. Should we do an episode tomorrow? Let me know in the comments. Should we do an episode tomorrow evening? It would be like tomorrow at like 7. I would pull off an episode. Let me know what you think. Is that like nobody's gonna watch? You'll all be with family, eating, got the itis by then, knocked out on a couch somewhere, like not trying to watch that. Totally understand. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, we can push it till Friday. It's harder to do episodes on Friday typically, but I don't think that Tim Black will do an episode on Thursday, so I don't think I'll have to edit any clips on Friday, so I think I'll have Friday free. So let me know what y'all think. Please, I need y'all. This is the democratic workplace. We believe in democracy. I want to vote in the comments. Let me know, if you'll show up. If we do an episode tomorrow, will you actually show up for it tomorrow, like 7 o'clock? Or let me know if there's a better time for you. I'm thinking 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern-ish, time. Let me know if that works for y'all, and I'll make that happen. I need to get more content out, so I got to do it because I got to get some clips. I got to make the content so I can get the clips. All right, this has been so bad. This episode's been so bad. All right, pulling in. Hour and a half in. This is just terrible. We're just having fun today. Today just feels like a post game, like just chilling with the fam kind of day. Like this is all this is. Like this is just like chilling with the comrades, chilling with the fam. We just hanging out here, y'all. We just hanging out. I'm supposed to be doing work. I'm supposed to be giving information, trying to, inform the people about Biden's garbage picks because he's got some really terrible picks here, y'all. Let me see if I can get to this. And like I said, I'll pick up. We'll do. If I don't get to it today, we'll do them next time. We got this. All right. So let me just finish this last. I gotta, again, I'm gonna have to wave myself down and like flag myself down in the thing. For when I'm scrubbing through the video, editing this later, just look for the part where I was doing this ridiculous thing here. And yeah, that's a TYT reference for anyone that doesn't know that post game. So let's see. Let me pull up this. I just want to show y'all this tweet that just, man, it just says everything about how these people act about this stuff. So in response to, this is about Cedric Richmond getting, can we drop that comment off? I need to do this just so I can piece this segment together. It will clip in weird. Sorry, y'all. Technical stuff for when I edit the video later. Okay. So in response to the Sunrise Movement coming out and rebuking that nomination of Cedric Richmond for White House Office of Public Engagement because of his horrible record on the climate. The Sunrise Movement, they came out, they reacted, and this was the response from a New York Times journalist, Jonathan Martin. Here's the response on Twitter from Jonathan Martin, a New York Times journalist. And this is just indicative of the sort of liberal response to progressives that were pushing back against this pick. Jonathan Martin says, 2021 preview, picking a fight right from the start with the most influential Black staffer in the White House, who represented an energy-heavy district. And then he at Sunrise Movement, quote, Cedric Richmond hire is betrayal due to big oil ties and silence on pollution in his district. So he literally quotes them. He quotes that where they're clearly saying it's because of his ties to big oil and the silence on the pollution in his polluted ass district, his Cancer Alley, toxic ass district, okay, that they've had, that they've raised an issue with. Sorry, let me bring it here. So they raised an issue with this, and his response to that is, 2021 preview. You're picking a fight right from the start with the most influential Black staffer in the White House, who represented an energy-heavy district, as if he's like accusing the Sunrise Movement or something of being racist or something, as if the Sunrise Movement you want to nominate, the Sunrise Movement will back Nina Turner getting hired to that position. You want to make Nina Turner a top advisor and the head of the White House Office of Public Engagement, because she is somebody that can engage with the public. She engages with the goddamn public the way the public wants to be engaged with. They can put Nina Turner in that position, not just Black, but a Black woman. Dun, 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 for all of your identity BS. That's a even better identity politic you can get. You got not just Black, but Black woman, okay? Put Nina Turner in that position if you care about, diversifying your cabinet. But, instead we get this, and then what? You try to hide behind his Blackness and try to, I don't know if you notice who Jonathan Martin is, but Jonathan Martin is the white man who's trying to call out these, again, we read the quote, the person who came out and it was like, I think she's actually Vashini Prakash. I believe she's a spokesperson for the Sunrise Movement, or the spokesperson for the Sunrise Movement. And she is the one that came out. That's a brown woman. Varshini Prakash is a brown woman that came out and spoke out against Cedric Richmond. And he's out here talking about, you're criticizing the highest ranking Black official and hiding behind his Blackness. No, you know what I'm about to say, man. I'm trying to keep it, man. I'm trying to keep it PG here and stuff. But F that noise. Like you do not hide behind the Blackness of this horrible neoliberal corporatist polluter. All right. You're not going to hide behind his Blackness or hide behind his identity while you sit there and allow these people to destroy. Who I care about? Not the one Black person in power there that they're talking about, but the masses of Black people that are going to be damaged by his terrible, ideas on the climate. Like, those are the Black people that I'm concerned with. Jonathan Martin, he don't give a damn about those Black people. The Black people that he cares about, we get Black faces in high places. And as long as we got a couple Black faces in high places, then I guess racism is over, y'all. We all good. Pack it up. We can all go home now. It's all over. We all set, right? Y'all can see I'm in a mood tonight. All right. So X says, I saw a cringe headline earlier to the effect of, quote, so far with Biden's picks, progressives have nothing to complain about. Oh, it's right. Oh, that's my reaction to it. Oh, jeez, I can't take these people. Why? Where do they make these people? It's so gross. They're so gross. You want to see? I got an example of one of those. I got another example. If Tammy says they're trying to put everyone, quote, liberals, to sleep and think everything is solved. Nothing left to complain about. We won. It's all set. We can all pack it up, go home, y'all. It's all good. Racism solved. Misogyny, sexism, we solved it. Trans antagonism solved. Homophobia is gone. Pack it on up. Classism, not an issue anymore. It's all good, y'all. Just pack it on up and go home. Go back to brunch. Go back. Don't pay attention to this stuff. What If America says, I think MSNBC or Oh, MSNBS, I get it. I've heard MSDNC, and now I know MSNBS. I like that one, so I like that. So, What Up America says, I think MSNBS liberals and anti-labor corporatists should keep the title left out their damn mouth. That is right wing already. Exactly, absolutely, 100%. What you're gonna see is that they have diversity in their skin color and their gender, but they don't have diversity in class interest. They all serve the same class interest, and that's the ruling employer class. Every single one of these picks that we were talking about, they serve they serve power, the powerful ruling class. That's their class interest, okay? And they all have the same class interest. There is no diversity of class interest in this cabinet so far. Tammy says Nina Turner is the public. She is the people. She represents the people 100%. That's somebody that they could have put in that position. All right, I'll show you another example of that, of these liberals, gone off to brunch and stuff, but them praising these cabinet picks and stuff. Here's another example here, of another one that I had. I don't know why it's showing like this. Is this going to pull up the wrong thing? I hope this doesn't pull up the wrong thing for me. I'm going to be so mad if this pulls up the wrong thing. It shouldn't be. Oh, no. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So this is from somebody who I followed, actually, which I was like, I literally unfollowed this person after I read this. And you'll see in there, like look at their thing. It's like, hashtag Black Lives Matter, ally, white fist. The white fist kind of it throws me off my game when I see the white fist. I'm sorry, it's a little weird. It just seems like white power. And so fight Trump, not each other. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. And what do they have to say about these picks? They say, I'm really digging the diversity and expertise of the people announced so far. Of course, it's the white liberals that are always so happy about the diversity and expertise. That expertise means that these are people that are lifelong establishment figures, status quo, reactionaries. These are reactionaries, people that want to return us to some old previous pretend amazing old days that don't exist. They weren't those old days that they want to go back to. They weren't good for black people. They weren't good for women. They weren't good for trans people. They weren't good for immigrants. They weren't good for anybody. They're just not good for working class people. The people, there was millions of people, almost 50,000 a year died under Obama with lack of health insurance. Over 500,000 went bankrupt every year. Just last year, we saw from the 2019 poverty report put out by the U.S. Census Bureau, 7 million people were pushed into poverty because of medical expenses in this country. That happens under, this is what was set up under the Obama administration with the ACA. That's what the ACA got us. We still have all of this pain in the community. People are tens of millions of people out of work, pushed out of their jobs, and then lost their health insurance at the same time. Student loan debt is it's surpassed all the credit card debt in the entire country. You have more student loan debt than all of the credit card debt in the country combined. You have more student loan debt, 1.5 trillion, almost over 1.4 trillion now. I think it's 1.5 trillion now in student loan debt, and it just keeps on going up. So, we got a crisis. We got a lot of crises at hand. And the response to it is just, hashtag diversity that is just will not look out. These people will not look out for working class interest. I am 100% sure of that. I know exactly what we're set. It's exactly what we're setting ourselves up for here. And, Brian from our Discord server recently said in the Discord that maybe you can't really, he said something along to the effect of, sorry to be, talking trash about you here, Brian, while you're not here to defend yourself. But Brian Dew from our Discord server recently said, that something along the lines of, in response to the Janet Yellen pick for Treasury Secretary, or Janet Yellen nomination for Treasury Secretary of the Treasury, Treasury Secretary. You said that, you kind of have to, you can't really, it's hard to you can't really sort of that I'm synopsizing here or whatever. But something along the lines of like, you got to judge people based on what they actually do. It's really hard to predict what somebody's going to do, but I think it's honestly incumbent upon us to try. That's what when you hire somebody for a job, you have to kind of predict what you're going to expect from this person, right? That's what you do when you're hiring somebody. You're trying to predict in advance, how is this person going to perform on this job? Well, we, the American public, are in a true democracy. It would be all of us hiring these people. This is us, the people that have just selected this president. We in a democracy, it should be people that we want to see elected into these positions. That's who should be getting picked. And so, it's our job then, as the people that are hiring this person, as the public that are hiring this person, it is our job to kind of predict how they're going to perform on the job. That is part of what we have to do. And so I disagree with you on that point. I totally agree with you on a ton of other points, Brian. But on that point, I disagree that we can't predict out, that it's a fool's errand of some sort to predict how these people are going to perform. No, they've shown us all the signs of who they are. Even Janet Yellen, who we're not going to discuss on this show tonight, they've all shown us who they are. So yeah. All right. I'm not going to do any more of this show, y'all, because I'm just not feeling it. And we've already almost hit 2 hours, and it's an hour and 40 minutes. I'm not feeling it enough to finish this out. Biden has some awful picks that I really want to cover, because I want to make sure that I'm doing the work. And this sucks because, I got to do the work of making sure that, Brian popped in, you see. So Brian was there just lurking in the shadows there. I see you, Brian. All right, lurking there, damn it. So Brian says, in the case of Yellen, she's done good things and bad things. I'd hire her for the job based on what she has done in the past, but I'd watch her closely. LOL. Yeah, I would not hire her for the job. Not when there are there are better people than her. Why not Treasury Secretary? What the hell happened to Elizabeth Warren? Like, seriously, this is something that I do need to talk about. What the hell happened to Elizabeth Warren? Didn't she sell out the entire progressive movement? Stab Bernie in the back during the primaries just so that she could supposedly get, so that she could, quote, be in the room and have a position in Joe Biden's cabinet? What the hell happened to that? Because that shouldn't that be your Treasury Secretary? Should be Elizabeth Warren. That's my senator here, actually. I'm in Massachusetts. That's my senator. Shouldn't it be Elizabeth Warren? Who? So Brian asks, who would you pick? So who would I pick? I would honestly, Stephanie Kelton would be my first pick. No, let me be real, all the way real. So Richard Wolff would be my first pick. After Richard Wolff. If Richard Wolff turned it down, it would be Stephanie Kelton. If Stephanie Kelton turned it down, then I would go to a Robert Reich, would be up next. And then if Robert Reich declined, then I would take Elizabeth Warren. Janet Yellen is not on my, she's not on my top 100. There's 100 people. I would literally pick some random person off the streets before I picked Janet Yellen, to be dead ass serious. And why I hear Richard Wolff actually is a former classmate of Janet Yellen's at Yale. And he talks about her all the time. And he says all the time, listen, Janet Yellen and I, we don't agree on much, but I agree with Richard Wolff on pretty much everything that he has to say about economics. I agree with Richard Wolff. So he's out here saying, listen, Jenny Yellen and I, they don't agree on anything pretty much, he says. He likes to say, listen, she and I, we were former classmates. We don't agree on anything except one thing. And the one thing that they agree on is that never in their lifetimes, and these are not young folks. I'm sorry. I love you, Richard Wolff. I love you, Dr. Wolff, but these are no spring chickens here. All right. They are wise. They got wisdom and, all that stuff that comes along with, they're like fine wine, they some aged folk. All right. So some older folk and they've been around a while, and these people have been around a while, and he says what they do agree on, because he says they get together all the time. And they have these, because they're former classmates, alumni, they roll in the same circles, and they have these conversations from time to time, and they sit down together from time to time. And he says they talk and they don't agree on anything, but the one thing they agree on is that in their lifetimes, capitalism has never been in a worse position than it is in right now. So that's the one thing that they do agree on, is that capitalism is in danger right now, and that it's sorry, I'm fixing my desk here. So the one thing that they do agree on is that capitalism's at the worst, in the worst situation it's ever been in the entirety of their lives. The economy is at the worst stage it's ever been in their entire lives, and that's the one thing that they do agree on. Now, what they don't agree on is what to do to get out of it. They don't agree at all. And I'll tell you that I totally agree with Richard Wolff, and I would totally follow the Richard Wolff plan. But yes, Stephanie Kelton, Robert Reich, and then but again, Richard Wolff first, Stephanie Kelton, Robert Reich, and then Elizabeth Warren. If none of those people would accept the job, and one of those people take it, I guarantee you Elizabeth Warren would take it, because she's desperate for power. So Elizabeth Warren would definitely take it. Oh, she fancy's in the building. Oh, that's so awesome. I see Oh, she fancy in the comments. That's dope. Oh, she fancy says, pick me from the random streets. Yes, Oh, she fancy. I would absolutely 100%. Oh, she fancy would be a top advisor in my cabinet. God damn it. I would definitely pick Oh, she fancy for Treasury Secretary. Over every time we talk to Oh, she fancy, she like going to work. She's on her way to work. She's on her way back from work. That's a working class person right there. That's a hardworking working class person right there. That's who I want running the damn economy. I'm so tired of these ruling class elites, running roughshod over the working class. I just Oh, she fancy says she likes the paint job on the nails. See if I can get it to zoom. Yes, nice, the focus. I do them myself. This color is actually to go along with, I don't know if you can really see the color on this, but the color is to go along with a cosplay for Aang from Avatar. I don't know, if you watch, but yeah, Aang from Avatar, The Last Airbender. I did a little cosplay of him recently. I'm going to be doing a full-on cosplay, but I did like a little bit of a cosplay test, like a cos test, I guess they call it. And I did the full, I painted on, because I'm bald, I don't know if y'all know, but y'all can see, I'm bald, man, so I'm a bald brother. And so I can do that. I could pull off the Aang. So I had the whole Aang, I had the arrow pointed on, and I painted it myself. I did all that. And see, y'all seeing, I'm telling you, this is post game. We in the post game right now. We in post game. So yeah, so I had the nails done for that too. And I did them myself. I do my nails myself. Oh, she fancy says, oh snap, he the next Avatar. Yes, I wish. That would be so dope. Oh, she fancy says, what? He's bald. Yep. So every time I try to cosplay something, or Tammy always is like, you got it, she always picks out bald characters for me. It's always it's got to be a bald character. So I love to try to do the cosplay for bald characters, because it just goes so easy for me. So I'm gonna try to do adult Aang. I'm actually gonna shave and everything for it, so y'all might see me shave soon, and that'll be why. I'll show y'all some pictures in one of our post game chats here, like we doing today, because we just turned this into a big old post game chat. I should change the title of the video, because I did not cover the topics I was supposed to cover whatsoever. Yes. So let me get back to some other comments from Brian. I want to hear Brian's response to this. Brian, and before I get to your response on this, I just want to show you one thing, because there was something that it's something, I have links to this in the description box, so you can check this out. And actually, it's not just me. I'm not the only one making these suggestions. Let me first go through your comments, and then I'll get to that. Actually, let me go through that. So Brian said, who would I pick? What If America said, I would pick Ralph Nader. Honestly, I would take Ralph Nader. I take Ralph Nader. I don't okay, yep. So I take Ralph Nader over Janet Yellen. And Brian Dew says Reich is worse than Yellen. I disagree. I disagree. I think that they're in the same boat, they're similarly minded, but Reich is actually out there. I see him. He is more progressive minded on a lot of these things. I do not see Yellen out here speaking out on this stuff. What I don't get, you got to tell me, what are you basing this off of? The only thing I know about Janet Yellen is what she's done in the Fed. She was a member of the Fed. She wasn't out here fighting for, Robert Reich. I mean, I know he's the guy who balanced the budget under Bill Clinton. but he actually had some decent, some decent little policies in there. And generally speaking, his critique of the issues are the same as mine. But again, we disagree on the way forward on a lot of things. I don't disagree. Like, I don't agree with Robert Reich on a ton of stuff. But I at least know his positions more than I know Janet Yellen's. I just don't like. You, as an economist, maybe you spend more time like paying attention to these folks than I do, unfortunately. But like, all I know about Janet Yellen is that her time as the federal chair of the Federal Reserve, and honestly, I just don't see that as like a some progressive position that people, no progressive, as far as I'm concerned, has ever existed in that role. Like, I just don't know of any progressive that has ever existed in that role, and I don't know what she's done that is like, here she's out here like telling me good policies that she believes in. What policies does she believe in? All I've seen her policy like opinion on is that she's against, like, she's made slight hints that she might even cut the freaking Social Security. She says you got to do something about these programs. No. Anytime you start with that language, F off. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. When you talk about you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to, handle some of these programs. No. What they want to do is cut our Social Security. F that noise. And then she's talked about the deficit and the debt. Like, when you start talking about the deficit, I'm done with you. Like, I do not want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. Those people they're in this fantasy world where they act like the American, the US budget is somehow like a piggy bank or like a household, like household expenses, or your bank account. And it's not. They can print their own, the US government can print their own money. And we got to stop acting like, I'm not a total MMT, head or anything like that. But what they're saying does have a lot of value. Brian says Yellen would be in my top 10. It's partially also about how people manage other people. Listen, to me, it's just not. It's like, I don't care about how people manage other people. To me, that's not what I care about. I care about what is your ideology. What's your ideology? What are your beliefs? Because that's what ends up getting carried out. If Yellen is just, and Robert Reich is the same thing, and so is Elizabeth Warren. I don't know why I keep forgetting her. It's because I've tried to repress the memory and just like shove her out of my brain. But like, these people, their ideology is a broken ideology. They are neoliberal capitalists to their core, to the absolute core, and there is nothing that will ever shift them off of their love, their love for this sinking ship of capitalism. And I just can't. I don't want anybody that's like a diehard for capitalism in such an important economic role. I would love to see a socialist take that position. I want to see somebody. Give me a Yanis Varoufakis of America. Who is that? That's Richard Wolff to me. That's Richard Wolff. So Brian says Kelton is okay, I suppose. I'm not huge on MMT. Yeah, listen, like, I'm not an economist. I can't speak all about this, but I'll tell you as a lay person, that's just a black person that has suffered from and felt all the pain, all the economic pain that Janet Yellen, she was in the Federal Reserve when we had the 2008 housing crisis. Like, these are the people that all they do is pump trillions into the fucking stock markets and into corporations and give them just endless money, and they pump up the markets, and they don't do shit for poor and working class people. Like, I'm sorry, Brian, I'm not trying to go off on you. I just don't. It hurts my soul a little bit when I see a leftist, saying that like these people are even in the range of like they're just beyond the pale to me. Honestly, Robert Reich to some degree as well, but I've watched his thing, and he's I watch his channel, I subscribe to his channel. And he breaks it down so well, and he clearly understands it, and sees the pain and sees where the problem is. And I actually believe in some of his policy solutions. Like, he actually is talking about trying to help people up in a certain way. I hope you prove me wrong, Brian. I hope I'm proven wrong. I desperately hope that I'm proven wrong. Seriously. But Oshi Fancy says, y'all open my mind up when I listen. I be rethinking about things I be doing. That's dope. I appreciate that. We're trying. And I'm sorry about this episode. You caught me on a bad episode here, Oshi Fancy. It's been terrible today. Hopefully you came at a good time. Brian Du says, economists respect Yellen, but not Wolff. Listen, that is the exact reason. That is the exact reason why I want Richard Wolff right there. Because The economists are fucking wrong, Brian. All these economists are garbage, dude. They all go to the same. They learn from the same set of schools. I'm sorry, I know you're one of them, Brian, but like you're on the left. You somehow figured your way out and around of it. All right, so you're not one of them per se, right? But like all these economists, and Richard Wolff talks about this all the time, man. Like they go to these. Richard Wolff is from Harvard, Yale, Stanford. Like he went to all the top schools. You know, he went to all the best schools. He was in school with all of these economists. He knows all the best economists. He was classmates with Janet Yellen. So they got the same education. And he said throughout his entire education, he managed to go through all of that entire education system, Ivy League education, and only one time in the entirety of his education was he ever asked to read a single passage from Karl Marx. Okay, I don't care what you tell me. You can't tell me that you have a solid education. Listen, in this country, you can be considered a smart person, an educated person, and not know who the fuck and never heard a single word of Fred Hampton. All right, you can be considered smart and not know a damn thing about Malcolm X. You know, those are people that are considered smart in this country. So when you tell me that a bunch of people that have gone through all these same institutions and have been indoctrinated into these same, as I took a couple basic bullshit economics classes, you know, just some 101, 102 type shit, right? And they all tell you the same thing, right? They all love capitalism. None of them are critics of capitalism. You can go through your whole economics education and not once be confronted with a criticism of capitalism. So the fact that all the economists respect her is because she believes in the same bullshit that they believe in. These people are the same fucking people that got us into the 2008 crisis. None of them predicted it. No, I'm not. My super producer is telling me to tone it down, and I'm not fucking toning it down. I'm pissed at this. These are the same people that get us into these situations over and over and over. When the fuck do we split from them and say they're fucking dumb? They can't predict the shit. These economists, they weren't the ones. None of them predicted the 2008 housing crisis. They all act like capitalism doesn't crash, doesn't have a major economic downturn every 4 to 7 years on average, every single place it has ever existed in the history of capitalism. Okay, it has had an economic downturn. They call it the business cycle, or an economic crash, or a recession, or a depression. Every 4 to 7 years on average, everywhere that capitalism has ever existed. But not one of these fucking economists that don't respect Richard Wolff will fucking say it. None of them will actually come out and say that. They all sit there and they hype up this system that is unstable, unequal, and undemocratic. So fuck all of them, okay? That's how I feel about all those fucking economists. Fuck all of them, okay? I don't agree with them. They're not they're smart people by some bullshit standard, some bullshit definition. It's just like the fucking IQ test, right? You know, if those IQ tests are fucking racist and xenophobic, and they're bullshit, right? If you get to write the test and write the measurement and define the fucking system of measurement, then you get to be considered smart when you pass that system of measurement. But listen, they're all being taught the wrong fucking thing. Like, these people are all being taught that capitalism is fucking great and they all celebrate. They're all fucking, you know, cheerleaders of capitalism. So I don't agree with those people. And we on the left should not be sitting there respecting fucking capitalists. Capitalism is the fucking problem. And we must recognize that, and we must do something about that. And if somebody is a champion of capitalism, fuck them. They're not fucking smart people. I don't trust their opinion. The fact that they don't respect Richard Wolff is exactly why I want him in there. Fuck all these people. They suck, and they don't see the shit coming when it's... You know, you couldn't see the fucking 2008 housing crisis. Richard Wolff has been screaming this shit from the top of the fucking, you know, from the rooftops for as long as he's fucking lived. Listen, every 4 to 7 years, no matter what the fuck happens, we're gonna have another fucking downturn, right? We're gonna have another economic downturn, no matter what we do, right? So it's not a surprise. It's not the pandemic that caused this crash. To anyone that doesn't remember, we went into economic recession before the start of this pandemic. We were in an economic recession. The group, who I know Brian knows what the name of the group is, the group that defines when the U.S. is in an economic recession, they came out and they said it, and they give the exact time, the timeline when we went into recession, and they say we went into recession in January of 2020. That was before we got the first, you know, notice about the existence of COVID-19, okay? And we were already in an economic recession. So we shouldn't call this the COVID recession or the coronavirus, depression. Excuse me. That's not what it was. It's just capitalism doing what the fuck it always does and just being an unstable system. And so all of these champions of capitalism, they're dumb. They're fucking morons, okay? They're wrong. They're wrong and they're wrong and they're wrong. It's the system, the goddamn system of capitalism is what's causing this shit. And no matter where it exists, it does the same damn thing. So I'm sorry, Brian. Like, man, I'm sorry, dude. I'm gonna take a breather. I'm gonna woosah it out. Let me just, I need to take a break. All right, I need to take a sip of this drink here. Calm myself down. I need some more to drink. Brian, this is not directed at you. You can tell I got some pent up energy here, man. I'm about to lose my voice. Brian Dew says, Brian Dew says, there exist economists to the left of her, but she's better than 99% of economists. I do trust your opinion on this. Like, you are a smart dude and you have not really let me down in the past here. And so I trust you on this, that she is actually better than them. And I am hopeful that she will at least not be, she's not going to create new damages. I agree with that. But I do not believe for a second that she is going to do anything except aim to return us to the status quo that led us to this place in the first place. So nothing that she's going to do. She is not going to start coming out and, she's not a labor rights activist. She doesn't believe in labor. She's not a pro-labor, economist or any, like, as far, like, I don't have that understanding of her in whatsoever based on, her former classmate and a close friend of her, another economist, who I trust with everything of, I got, I trust, Richard Wolff. I trust his opinion on her. And he says they disagree on just damn near everything. All right. Which means I disagree with her on damn near everything. But I do, both things can be true, right? She could disagree with him on everything. She could not believe in the things that I believe in and not be good for the things that I want to see happen, but also be better than 99% of the economists out there. And that being because 99% of economists are fucking morons. All right. And I'm sorry, my best friend is an economics major, Yvonne, I love you, and he's the smartest human being I know. He's an actuary now, and he's a economics major. We went through college together. Again, one of my best friends. And I love him, and he's a smart dude. He is so smart, and his job has sucked his soul out of him. He is a leftist as well, and that his job has sucked his soul out of him. It hurts him to do the work that he does because he sees himself destroying the world and not being able to do anything about it because he needs to earn a living. And he went through the same kind of education and he saw through the bullshit, and people like you, Brian, you're the good ones. Y'all are some of the good ones that make it through and don't drink the Kool-Aid, and so I believe you on that. I believe that I'm sure I trust your opinion on that. And seriously, like, folks, y'all, if you're not in our Discord server, you got to get in our Discord server and you got to head over there and you got to see Brian drop some knowledge, because Brian be dropping some serious economic knowledge in our Discord. To join us on Discord, you just got to sign up for $5 a month on Coffee or on Patreon. Y'all can hear my voice is cracking. It's actually, I'm losing my voice right now. Sorry, y'all. I need a cough drop or something, and I don't got one. Whew. All right. So please support the show if you can afford to do so. Please support the show. Coffee.com/radical democracy. You can drop us a one-time tip, but now you can support us with a monthly donation on Coffee, and that is because we have upgraded to Coffee Gold. And so please support us in that way. If you're supporting us on Patreon still, and you're not like, you don't have a bunch of stuff on Patreon, we ask that you switch over to Coffee, because it gets us more of the funding actually comes to us and not to the, you know, capitalist institution that is building the platform. So I do appreciate that about Coffee, and that is a reason why, you know, I really wanted to support them with the Coffee Gold subscription, and also, you know, open things up on there. I recently heard, I was listening to like a podcast of Katie Halper, where she had Rania Halleck and Brianna Joy Gray on, and she was talking about Rania. I'm messing up her name now. I lost it. I think it's Rania Halleck. She was talking about how there's like some new platform that's like competing with Patreon, and it's called it's like Rock Fan or Rock Star or Rock something. I think she was saying like Rock something. So if anybody knows what it is, let me know in the comments over there. Please tell me what it is over in the comments. But it's Rock something, and I'd like to check it out and see what it's about. I really wish they would make a, you know, leftist platform like that we can really get behind. Like a worker cooperative was to build one of those. That would be dope. So, but there's just not enough worker cooperatives that would be out there purposefully supporting it. So it would be a hard, you know, tough thing to do, I'm sure. All right. Another, again, big shout out to the anonymous comrade who tipped us $20 on Coffee. Thank you so much, comrade. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers, our Coffee subscribers. Brian Du is one of them. I hope that didn't just, you know, my rant there. He's like, fuck that noise. I'm unsubscribing. No, I'm teasing. I know you wouldn't do that, Brian. That was not directed at you, Brian. I hope you know that's directed at, I have this thing. I do not like economists by and large. Like, these people get, you know, they are I've seen the education that they get, and I'm not a fan. So all right, shout out to Brian and X for both subscribing monthly on Coffee, $10 a month. That's, you know, that's amazing. Y'all are freaking dope. I freaking love y'all. You know, you do that, I yell at you almost, and then you still stick around and show love. So I'm not yelling at you though, Brian. I hope you know that. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at this terrible fucking economists out there that I hate so much. I hate these economists. They suck, and they're so wrong. And they can't predict. They can't tell us that you didn't know that capitalism crashes every 4 to 7 years on average. You didn't know that another one was coming. Oh no, it's so surprising. Oh, a pandemic. You didn't know that viruses existed? Did we not know that viruses existed? You know that viruses existed before human beings, right? We've lived with them the entirety of our existence. We've lived with viruses. We know this isn't the last one. There'll be more. But capitalism, it will crash. It will do this every 4 to 7 years, no matter what. And they'll blame it. They'll call it a new name: the housing crash, the .com bubble, the COVID crash. Look they all got nice, pretty names. You know what they all are? They're all failures of capitalism. Crashes of capitalism. And all of these economists that still cheerlead for capitalism are morons, okay? They're morons. Okay. All right, I think I didn't do anything that I was supposed to do today. I did one article. Here's some of the other picks that I wanted to talk about that I will get a chance to talk about. Michelle Flournoy, Secretary of Defense, Tony Blinken, for Secretary of State, Avril Haines, hashtag girl boss, former like CIA director, who's like responsible for major war crimes, torture, she's getting position. Oh, this is what I want to show you. Sorry. I wanted to show Brian one thing. There are links in the description to this, and you were asking me about who I would pick. Instead of just looking at who I would pick, because I'm, losing my mind right now. Here's who the Sunrise Movement and the Justice Democrats. So Sunrise Movement and Justice Democrats, they teamed up and they created this thing called the climatemandate.org. You'll find the links in the description box below under the part where it says sources. It's the top link that I put in there because I think it's a really cool thing, just an interesting thing, I'll say, that people should check out. Check it out for yourself and you'll see. So it's climatemandate.org. this is what it looks like here. And you'll see that on there, they, this is, again, you can see at the top, it's created by Sunrise Movement and Justice Democrats. So this is a progressive groups teaming up together, and they say, they're talking about unity, uniting progressives, the centrists, progressives, moderates, establish the Office of Climate Mobilization, talking about how Joe Biden has a 10-year window to stop the worst and most permanent effects of climate change, all those sorts of things. So they instructed them to form this Office of Climate Mobilization, and this is who they have for cabinet picks. And these are, so their criteria are that they should have no ties to fossil fuel companies or corporate lobbyists. So sorry, Janet Yellen's out because she's got links to them, unfortunately. But whatever. Maybe she wouldn't be totally out. I don't know. She's got links to consultancy groups that help lobbyists. So I don't know if that's considered links to corporate lobbyists or okay, no ties to. So I honestly, that seems like a tie to. I don't know. But so collectively, the cabinet should be representative of America. I hope they mean not just physical characteristics, but also, the class dynamic, and then fights with the urgency that the climate crisis demands. So these are some of their recommended picks, and you'll notice that not one of these people have been selected for any position so far. So, for on the topic, since Brian and I were Brian had specifically asked about Treasury Secretary. Let's just see who they had picked for Treasury Secretary. Of course, I mentioned Secretary of State Tony Blinken, who's like a war hawk, warmonger. War hawk was picked. They recommended, their top pick was Barbara Lee, and then they picked as a backup Ro Khanna and Chris Murphy. I think those all would have been decent picks. I really would have been happy about Barbara Lee or Ro Khanna. I wouldn't have been all that happy about Chris Murphy, to be honest. It would have been like, all right, he's decent. He's a pretty progressive dude. He's in the state where Sandy Hook happened. So I don't know why I can't remember what state. Oh, Connecticut. So he oversaw, he was there when he was the senator when Sandy Hook happened. He's been really strong on the issue of trying to promote gun legislation, just common sense gun legislation in the country. And so he's been good on those issues, and he's decent. But here were their picks for Secretary of the Treasury. So you can see that they suggested for Secretary of the Treasury, Elizabeth Warren, Sarah Bloom Raskin, and Robert Reich was their third pick. So I thought that they had Stephanie Kelton on here, but they must have had her on a different position. Let me actually flip through real quick and see where they had Stephanie Kelton. But you can see they thought that Elizabeth Warren or even a Robert Reich as a backup. But their top pick was Elizabeth Warren, who I thought that it was a reasonable pick in that it's like, I know we wouldn't be so happy on the left, like we wouldn't have been that happy because we all know about Elizabeth Warren, the damn snake, but like, we know she stabbed the progressive movement in the back and sold us out for nothing. It turns out. But even then I would be decently like, it would be like, okay, that's solid. To anyone also that's going to suggest, that might suggest that like, you can't pick Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. You can't take that, because I wanted to get to it. Like, this is something that Biden said, like, he doesn't want to, he said he wasn't going to pick Biden, Bernie or Elizabeth Warren because they don't want to pick a senator. Because you got to hold power in the Senate. Tammy says, Warren should be fighting to get a seat, even if she doubts she'll get a shot. Like, at least make what happened with the primaries try to be worth it for herself. Yeah, like, get something for what you did. You stabbed the whole damn progressive movement in the back. You said that you wanted a seat in the room. This is your chance. Like, you just let him pick Treasury Secretary. That was the job that everybody would. What other job could Elizabeth Warren have? At this point, it's all signs. There's pretty much no chance at this point that Elizabeth Warren makes it into a Biden cabinet. There's still some small chance that Bernie would make it in as the labor secretary, but honestly, chances are very slim. So let me just take a quick look at.
I'm going to show Brian's comments just so you know what he was saying in response to you and before. You don't have to respond to it because you might have already.
Yeah. And just real quick, what they recommended Stephanie Kelton for was the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. Their top pick is actually Derek Hamilton, who, for folks that aren't familiar with Derek Hamilton, who would be a black pick, that's a black dude, or Stephanie Kelton, that's a woman. So we got two diverse picks here that they mentioned, and Heidi Sherolds, who I don't even know who she is, but that's their third recommendation. But Derek Hamilton, for those who aren't aware, is the co-author of the Contract with Black America. He wrote the whole preface to it and helped lay out the demands in Ice Cube's Contract with Black America. Was actually he got the help of Derek Hamilton, who these progressive groups, clearly he's a progressive. This is who was actually helping to write the Contract with Black America that everybody shat all over Ice Cube about. Clearly this was somebody with, a black person with solid economic knowledge. They're recommending him to the Council of Economic Advisors, Derek Hamilton. We know he ain't getting picked, or Stephanie Kelton. I promise you that. But I would take both of those picks on the Council of Economic Advisors. I would honestly take Stephanie Kelton as my Treasury Secretary, to be honest. Let me hear from Brian and see what else Brian said. So let's get the rest of Brian's comments because I don't want to miss that. You BS me? Okay.
Oh no, I'm about to.
All right. Well, don't be. All right. Brian says Reich is worse than Yellen. Yep, we got that. Brian says the left made a huge push to reappoint Yellen at the Fed. Interesting. She made statements since that are disappointing, but she led a massive right-wing institution and moved it to the left. Yeah, I get it. To most people, it's like the Fed is like, yeah. X says Biden's picks are also probably influenced by the expectation of a Republican-controlled Senate. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get shit done, because why would he care to? I don't know what your point is there, X. Like, if it's a Republican-controlled Senate, are you saying he wants people that are, maybe your point is that, like, he wants people that are sort of seen as more moderate, could be more sort of bipartisan in a way? Honestly, I just don't. If the Senate is controlled by Republicans, give up on legislation passing through Congress. Like, let's stop thinking about any legislation passing through Congress. There is a million things that can be done without Congress. They don't need the person that's running the Treasury Secretary does often have to work with Congress, but the idea that that's where we're going to move, progressive legislation through Congress, if it's controlled by the Republicans led by Mitch McConnell, is like, let's just cut that bullshit. What happened under Republicans? We know they are the masters of obstruction. They will obstruct the ever-living hell out of the, Biden administration. And not just the Biden administration, but the Congress. They will obstruct Congress. That's what they can do. They can obstruct Congress. They can also obstruct with like his nominees, people that he's trying to pick. They can, and maybe that was your point too, was that like they wouldn't be able to get them. So, they wouldn't be able to get these people through a Republican-controlled Senate. Yeah, listen, I would just keep putting up more, progressive people, and they'd have to pick one, or we just don't fill those positions, because I just focus our energy elsewhere, because I honestly think there's David Dayen is doing the Lord's work right now over at the American Prospect, and he's laid out an amazing day one agenda that Biden can accomplish without any need to get anything through Congress. There is a ton of stuff. We talked about it in the Discord server recently, that they released an article recently, David Dayen from the American Prospect, that laid out how Joe Biden could enact Medicare for all on day one without any act of Congress. There's a provision in the ACA that allows the executive branch to provide Medicare to anyone, any area that is been affected by, what do they say? Some sort of public health crisis. So you can provide Medicare for everyone in an area that is facing a public health crisis. Well, guess what? The entire country is right now facing a public health crisis. So Joe Biden could enact Medicare for all of those people. He won't. And the article acknowledges that he won't do it, but he could do it. And that's where the fight has to happen. Like, he can legalize, you know, he can deschedule cannabis, and he can legalize cannabis. He could, you know, I believe he has the power to end cash bail. You know, he can increase minimum wage. There are things that he can do, not just by executive order, but by the way that he interprets the law, not just by executive orders, but also by the way that they interpret the law, and can enact some of these policies. So, yeah. But duly noted, Brian, about that as well, about the left movement. X says right and left led administrations have this in common: incrementally increasing the wealth gap. Yeah, like, that's, you know, black people, we suffer, whether it's the Democrats, whether it's Janet Yellen in the Fed, or Jerome Powell in the Fed, or, you know, it's just like all we see is damage and destruction in our communities. And it's really hard for us to imagine that these people have enough power to change our lives. Really, it's like we got to change the whole damn system, because the whole damn system is rotten to its core. Brian says it's true that there are rock star economists who sell something way sexier than Yellen. Look up Fed listens. Okay. Yeah. Fed Listens initiative. What Fed? In 2019, the Federal Reserve has launched a listening tour, reaching out to a broad range of people across the country. Through it, the Fed wants to hear views on how best to pursue its mandated goals of maximum employment and stable prices. See, they talk about maximum employment from the Federal Reserve, but maximum employment to the Federal Reserve means like 3% unemployed still. That's not maximum employment. Maximum employment is full employment, and you do that through like jobs guarantees, not through acts of legislation. We can't, I'm not wanting to rely on some supposedly non-governmental body, you know, in the Fed or whatever, to try to enact like progressive policy and stuff. We got to do that through acts of legislation. That's the only way it really sticks and holds. But I get it. You know, so it sounds like the Fed Listens initiative was an initiative that they went out there and they listened to the public. They tried to get the perspective of the public. I think that's all good, and it's more democratic, and I certainly support that. And I think that that's a good, you know, a good initiative and good things. The question that I asked though is like, what came of that? You know, what has really changed? What has fundamentally changed for the masses of poor and working class people? And the answer to me is not a whole lot. And, you know, if anything, just people's lives just keep getting progressively worse. We're in the midst of a K-shaped recovery where the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Fucking Jesus Christ. Elon Musk made $100 billion since the beginning of this year. He started the year with $27 billion. He now has $127 billion. The dude has made $100 billion in the midst of a pandemic. Like, I hate this country. I hate this system. I hate this economy. I hate it. Just it sucks. It sucks so bad. I just hate this economic system. X says HR. Okay. X says he was about to cut the stream. Now he's erupting like Krakatoa. Yeah, no, I lost my damn mind there for a little bit. Tammy said, LOL, I'm not telling you to tone it down. My ears just hurt a little from this distance. LOL, it's okay. Good energy. Yeah, it was a little too much energy because I lost my voice, and I don't want to do that. I shouldn't stress my vocal cords to the point that I lose my voice in the middle of I don't mind losing my voice at the end of a show, not in the middle of a show, preferably. So, Brian Do says there exists. Okay. Yep. Yep, there exists economists to the left of her, but she's better than 99% of economists. We saw that one. Let's keep going with Brian's comments. What Up America says, damn straight, Kamali, keep the fire. Brian says, part of it is intellectual honesty. The rock stars are sexy as fuck, but not always honest. I believe that, you know, Richard Wolff is intellectually honest. I believe, yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, I'm trying to think of another person that I could put in that position. And it's just like Richard Wolff is the only person I can think of. Brian says Krugman, Reich, Wolff, Kelton to some extent. Yeah, I don't consider them. I don't see any intellectual dishonesty from Richard Wolff. Like, you got to give me some examples of where you see intellectual dishonesty from Richard Wolff, Brian. I totally disagree with you. I vehemently disagree with you on that. I see no intellectual dishonesty from him. He seems to be genuine, sincere. This is what he studied his entire life. This is what he truly believes. I see no intellectual dishonesty. Sure, from all those rest of those names, Krugman, intellectual dishonesty all the time. Reich, sure. I don't, those aren't people that I'm crazy about. They're just people that I believe would have been slightly better than a Janet Yellen. Those are the backup picks. I told you, who my number, even I would put even maybe an Elizabeth Warren ahead of those people, honestly, because at least I know a little bit more about Elizabeth Warren and what she did with the Consumer Protection Agency. Is it the Consumer Protection Bureau, right? CPB. So the Consumer Protection Bureau, that was some real valuable, stuff right there. On that note, like for that, I would support an Elizabeth Warren, even after all that she did to the left movement. Like I could support an Elizabeth Warren for Treasury Secretary, but it would be Richard Wolff and then it would be Elizabeth Warren. And I really disagree with you about the intellectual dishonesty point on Richard Wolff. And I would really, really hope that you would give some more examples of give me some real evidence of where you see some intellectual dishonesty from him, or that he's just trying to be sexier than Janet Yellen. Like there's nothing sexy about socialism. The guy, there's nothing sexy about Marxism and socialism. It's not a sexy thing. If it was sexy, it would be popular. It's not popular. These aren't popular opinions that he's coming out with. Krugman is running the neoliberal bullshit line. That Robert Reich is doing the same, is doing neoliberal bullshit. Sure, those people can be sexier because they can dress it up nice and they can do nice, YouTube videos and all that sort of stuff. But I don't see any, I see Richard Wolff breaking down in detail economic policy in a way that speaks to me. It speaks to me, and I'll tell you, it will speak to people in poor working class communities that I come from, that it will speak to them because they feel what he says. I don't need to be an economist to know that the system ain't working. When I look around me and all that I see is people suffering in my communities, I don't need to know from any economist that blah, 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 this wonky technocratic bullshit. Oh, if you just carry the two and, carry the one over here and it's, if we just means test along these lines and we're going to do all these means tested programs, fuck them. I know what works for my communities. I know what works for the communities that I care about. And this technocratic professional managerial class bullshit where we leave it in the hands of these elites. It's I don't trust them. This is what trusting these people has gotten us to. What we got here. My situation, I'm trying more and more to not bring my personal situation into it. Just look at the numbers, just look at the numbers. I'm one of these people, but just look at the numbers. I speak from a position of I'm feeling the pain because I'm one of these people. I'm one of the marginalized in every way, shape, and damn form. I'm one of the marginalized. And so I speak from a position of pain. And I don't need, a degree in economics to know that this economy ain't working for the masses of people. People's lives didn't improve with Janet Yellen in the Fed and Barack Obama and Biden as the presidents, president, vice president. People's lives didn't improve. The masses of people didn't improve. No, the minimum wage stayed flatline. That's what matters to working class people. The poor and working class people, a minimum wage really matters. None of these people, I don't hear Janet Yellen out there fighting for a $15 minimum wage. So Janet Yellen, pucker up and kiss my black ass. And that's how I feel about most of these people. Brian Dew says, I totally agree with the larger critique. What Up America says, dog, you should stop, man. Take a break on the vocal cords. You're burning. Tammy, back me up. Yeah, right? That voice, right? I promise it's for your health, man. Take a rest, Kamali. Listen, it's hard. I'm worked up right now, all right? What Up says, look, we just all got to be careful about our respiratory systems right now. It's so true. So true. Also, yeah, I really shouldn't be screaming that loud. Spraying, like my thing. X says, I think this warrants a segment on Yellen's background, policies, etc. I think we're going to end up in the same conclusion, though. Fuck capitalism. Yes, I know that will be the conclusion I end up in for sure. That's my conclusion on everything. So it's a foregone conclusion with me. But yes, I do think that we absolutely need to do an episode on that. Brian and I should chat too in the Discord server. Let's chat too, Brian. I'd love to bring in some of your references into it. I'll use some of your background on her so that we can do this fairly. You can help me do the research on that if you want to, Brian. If you wanted to come on the show and discuss it, that would be wonderful. But we've
Or
talked
just
offline.
prep something that you typed in.
Yeah, or if you prep something, if you type something up, your position, sort of your argument in the debate, if you write something up, if you're more comfortable with that, I will read it in its entirety. Your statement on it, any references you bring in, send me links and references. I will literally do a 2-part presentation where I will present your, perspective on it, and then I will try to I'll do my research and try to present my perspective on it. What I would love is if I had some connections to Richard Wolff to bring his expertise in on this and let him speak on this, since he's somebody that's literally, was in classes with her and really has a personal relationship with Janet Yellen. So
We can also read his Discord messages if he,
yeah, and if you want, I can read some of the Discord messages that you already dropped as well. Brian said, he says, I don't think Yellen will bring us to radical change, but she's not Geithner. That's one way to put it. Yeah, Geithner. Oh man, yeah. X says, I'm gonna start calling Kamali Young Jank Uber. Nice. I'll take it. I don't know if I want Uber in my name though. F those people, those monsters, those anti-labor monsters. Would you think that was that a typo for Uyghur? It's Uyghur for Jank's pronunciation. Yeah. So, but I think that was just I don't think that was a type autocorrect situation. I think that X was being funny there. And it was funny. Brian says, I want higher taxes and a bigger welfare system, and I don't think Yellen will deliver what I want, but I expected worse from Biden. So in some ways, it's a relative win. I saw you make that point, and I get that point. I hate that, though, that they're able to set the bar so low that they clear this just horrendously low bar that they set. I do agree with you, though. You're a reasonable dude, and everything that you're saying here is reasonable stuff. And I agree with that. Like, I know you're right on that. I know you're right. My somewhat emotional reaction is sometimes because I know it's not enough, and it's not enough for what I care about, because I don't care about lifting up the middle class and I just don't care. I care about lifting up those people at the bottom. I really want to prevent those people from ever falling to the bottom, lift the people up off the bottom that are there right now, and then prevent people from ever falling there. And you and I have had some great conversations recently, Brian, in the Discord server about how we make the bottom not so bad, so that the bottom, how you have to do that is you have to stop the inequality, and you can't do that under capitalism. It's just, the inequality is just inherent in the system. When you have one set of people that are able to expropriate the wealth of another set of people, then it's over, you're done. When they can expropriate the wealth and exploit your labor, then it's too far gone. I meant to post. I'm going to post in the Discord right now because I literally have it all typed up, Brian. I'm going to post this right now because I typed something up before the episode and I didn't send it. I literally just sent it just now. I just posted in the Discord server a link, and maybe I'll post the link in the chat as well here in a second. I'm going to post the link in the chat here. Give me 1 second. I'm posting a link to a recent discussion on Jacobin. It was a Jacobin Talks discussion between Bhaskar Sankara and Ben Burgess, and they did an amazing job. Oh, I remember you mentioned that too. Brian says, yes, yeah, my pick was Bloom Raskin. Bloom Raskin was the other, Sarah Bloom Raskin was the other person that they recommended. If you agree with Bloom Raskin, I probably would agree with Bloom Raskin then as well. I just don't know enough about her, to be honest. I would love to do, I'll do the research. If she was even being floated, I would have researched her. But yeah, I'll definitely look into her. If you agree with Bloom Raskin, odds are I would also, and chances are she'd be better than Elizabeth Warren to me because, I ain't feeling too friendly with Elizabeth Warren nowadays. Brian says Bloom Raskin has ties to corporations, but her husband is a pretty left congressman from Maryland. Okay, nice. Yeah. Bloom Raskin was number 2 at the Treasury and also worked at the Fed. Okay, so these people are still freaking, I just don't want these career, economy, people that have been in the establishment, these establishment people. I want new blood in there. I just want people that haven't been there before. That's why even a Robert Reich, I don't really want him. It's just if I can't get anyone else that I actually want, I'll take a Robert Reich. But She's the most left of the people who would be confirmed without a fight, and she writes for the American Prospect. Oh, she writes for the American Prospect. I like her a little bit more now, for sure. So I respect the hell out of the American Prospect, and I love that outlet. So that she gets a major plus in my book for that. And I get it. You know, you're not gonna get Richard Wolff confirmed in a Republican controlled Senate. You know, it's probably no. You know what? I don't buy that. You can get every single Democrat, and there's probably a few Republicans out there that are like, you know, they kind of agree on the, you know, the basic, like, can I get a libertarian over here, man? Something? Can we get a Rand Paul over on our side? I don't know. They probably block them anyways, but let's be real. Who's to say they ain't gonna block these people anyway, y'all? Like, who's to say like that these people are gonna get confirmed anyways? Like, they will call everybody a socialist. Anybody to the right of like, I'm sorry, anyone to the left of like freaking like Milton Friedman, like anybody to the left of that, they're like, you're a socialist, you know, you're a freaking commie. So I don't know if who's going to get confirmed here. Honestly, the people that are going to get confirmed are the people that are the most like neoliberal, the people that are going to uphold the status quo, because the Republican Party is fine with that. Keep it going. I read that one. Reich is okay, but he does bad stuff too. NIMBY in real life. NIMBY in real life, but leftist online. Got you. Yeah. One of those types. I got you. Brian says he absolutely loves Derek Hamilton. Same. Like, I would love Derek Hamilton. Oh, and he says, I know shareholders in real life. That's funny. Brian is a Washington insider. He's our Washington correspondent, our DC correspondent. So Brian says she's amazing. That's really cool. That's awesome. Wow. Brian says, I mean, I've met her many times. She's good. Kelton is good too. When I criticize the rock stars for lying to be sexy, Kelton doesn't do that. She's honest. Yeah. These people, I don't like Reich. I could see where that would come in. Like, you know, Reich does all this, like, you know, produced sort of stuff that I could totally see how that's a facade that he's putting up, but I really don't see any kind of dishonesty from a Kelton or a Richard Wolff, and I don't think that their positions are necessarily the sexy ones. I think that to some degree you could say it is kind of like you know, it's kind of like people are into there's a certain set of people that are kind of into MMT right now, but it's not a huge movement. It's not this big well-known thing. I think if you want to like popular and stuff, you just take the neoliberal and neoconservative track, and that's how you get popular. Brian Du says the Fed sets interest rates. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the yeah. So, you know, for anyone that doesn't know, like the Fed is responsible. They get to set the interest rates, and when they set the interest rates, you know, they are deciding what are the interest rates on money that you can borrow out, you know, like money that can be borrowed. And so, you know, Brian says the interest rates are the amount of money rich people get for having money, you know. Yeah, because why Brian says that is because the rich people are the ones that get to lend you the money, and then, you know, and then if the interest rates are now help me out here, Brian, but okay, and I see what he's saying. By having the higher interest rates, you're saying the capitalist class, the wealthier class or whatever. Help me if I'm wrong here, Brian. Correct me if I'm wrong here. What you're saying. So by having those interest rates or whatever, they are the ones that actually get to come in. They're the credit card companies, the banks, the people that actually get to come in and then do the lending at those rates. But I thought that what it was is like that's the rate that they get to borrow money at, right? Like, so they borrow money at that. When the Fed sets the rate to zero, right? Like what I understand happens when the Fed sets the rate at zero. It's not that like rich people aren't making money because the rate is at zero. Like, is that what you're saying? Because that's not how I understand it to be. When the Fed set the rate at zero, what that does is that allows the banks and the wealthiest people to borrow at that rate, and they borrow that because they're setting short-term interest rates, right? Those are those short. Do they set short and long-term rates? I don't know. Help me understand this better. You know what the Fed does. Do they set the short and the long-term interest rates? And if so, like, you know, from with the way that I understand it is that like if the short-term interest rates or whatever are at zero or whatever, yeah, so high interest rates, of course, that means it costs more to buy a house, to buy a car, all those large purchases. That's going to impact the, you know, when you take out a credit and you use credit to buy anything, right? Those interest rates on the credit cards, right? That's determined by that. The higher the interest rate is, the more expensive it is for the lender to borrow the money initially, and then they have to charge more in order to make a profit on that, to have a profit margin, to have a larger margin on that. So if the rates are at zero, money is free to borrow. In fact, we've done some crazy shit, and some other countries have done this too, where they'll have negative interest rates. That means that if you borrow $100 from me and borrow it for a year, at the end of the year, if it's a negative 10% interest rate, you borrowed 100, you only have to pay me back 90. Who the hell wouldn't take that deal? If you have enough money, you just borrow $1 billion, and then you get to keep back, what is that? 10 million. I can't do quick math right now. 10 million. So you get to just keep $10 million. That's just $10 million for you. So if you can borrow $1 billion at a negative 10% interest rate, right? You get to keep $10 million for yourself, right? No matter what happens. So you can go and you can just break even and just keep your 10 million, whatever, right? But what happens when you set the interest rate at zero is that people come in, even other countries, everywhere, people will come in from all over and they borrow at those rates because you're giving money away for free. At that point, people that need it, corporations can come in, they can borrow money at really low rates, at literally just borrowing free money. They're like, take this money. And then what they can do is be really risky with that money, is what we've seen when they set the rate at zero, right? Like, so Brian, and help me on this. Do you think that it's a good thing that rates are set at zero? Because isn't that also doing something where it's also allowing a lot of companies to come in and be riskier with these things, because they come in and they say, oh, it's free money, I'm going to borrow a ton of it because I'm not going to have to pay back interest on that at all. And so it's sort of cheaper money. And also negative interest rates are just insane to me. It's like they're literally paying you to take money. Essentially, they're like, I will pay you to borrow money from us. And we literally did that in this country, I believe, at one point. So help me understand that better if I'm getting that wrong. But that's the way that I do understand that, like, low interest rates can also sort of be a bad thing for people at large, not directly, but indirectly, through the fact that they will, a lot of corporations see that they borrow at that low rate and then they do riskier things, they engage in riskier behavior and ultimately go and crash our economy anyway. So, but high rates are also bad, because if the rate's too high, and the Fed is sort of the ones that are responsible for, as I understand it, they're the organization that's responsible for sort of maintaining the pool of money that is accessible to people and making sure, and using that, they have to inject more money into the economy or pull money out of the economy or inject money into the economy in order to try to control inflation rates. So if they see there's, like too many dollars circulating, and that would make inflation go up. They try to take money out of the economy or whatever. When the economy is sort of floundering, they can inject money into the economy so that the dollar doesn't lose value, whatever. So cool. And Brian says the Fed sets short-term rates to influence long-term rates to influence the economy. Yeah, I gotcha. So they set the short-term rates so that it affects the long-term rates, and then that affects the economy. Okay, gotcha. Yep. Brian says, I'm in the position of defending Yellen, but my argument was just that we have to watch her closely. Yeah, no, I totally understand, and you're being much fairer. I'm clearly, I got, there's some emotion behind my argument there, and you were being very, your argument is well taken, trust me. Brian says, if you pick Jamie Dimon, I would be flipping out. Like, yes, and I would be right there with you flipping out. If he tried to pull a Jamie Dimon, like, and we did not take to the streets for Jamie Dimon, like, I'd be heated, although I know I said that, like, protesting ain't gonna do a damn thing, and so honestly, I guess I wouldn't. Brian Du says, I watched some Wolf videos and it's walking a line. He makes strong arguments, but he's basically constantly selling the workplace democracy idea. I don't know. I'm going to try to bring in more examples of more Richard Wolff. And Brian says he's selling an idea, which is fine. His idea would work for solving poverty among workers, which is part of poverty. It's a fine idea among many good ideas. That's the thing. I don't think that that's all he's selling, though. And so maybe I need to do a better job as well of bringing more Richard Wolff in to show that he totally advocates for, he says all the time, we can't do this all with just workplace democracy. And he also acknowledges that workplace democracy is not the end of the game, and that it's not going to solve all the problems. It's not going to solve racism. It's not going to solve sexism, but it's going to be able to help us combat those things. It's not going to solve patriarchy, but it will help us combat those things. It will help to make things more fair, more egalitarian. And he also still advocates totally for things like Medicare for all, and, you know, he doesn't really care about so much. He says federal jobs guarantee is great, but it has to be guaranteeing workplace, you know, jobs in workplace, you know, democratic workplaces. Like, the thing is, until we do that, like, the reason that he sells that idea is because that's the fundamental thing as far as he has diagnosed it. And that's what the way that I've diagnosed it. And I know I'm no economist. I don't have my degree. So I guess, you know, who am I to speak? But I know who I am. I'm a person that's felt the economy at every way and shape and form that you can feel it. And so, you know, that's what I believe too, is that that's the fundamental change that we need to make in order to make sure that we don't, and trust me, Brian, you got to check out that that podcast that I linked to, both in the chat, but also I dropped it in the Discord. I tagged you in it, so you know, and I mentioned a few of the things that they talked about, but they also even talked about the issue that we were talking about in the Discord server recently about, like, how do you avoid backsliding from a socialist model back into, like, you know, capitalist exploitative practices, and they really tackle the idea of, like, you know, we need to end exploitation, where exploitation is defined as one person being able to extract the labor of, you know, extract the surplus of labor from another person. And we have to end that mechanism, because what we find when you look at, you know, economic systems, every economic system, whoever controls the surplus controls the political economy. You know, they control policy. If you control the surplus, that's where the power in any society lies, is who is controlling that surplus. Because you'll see, you know, it was under monarchy, it was kings and queens, and they had all the power, and they had all the, you know, they had all the power. You know, they controlled the surplus, right? The kings and queens. Under feudalism, you had lords and serfs, right? The lords controlled the surplus of the serfs' labor, right? So they control all the extra that the serfs produced beyond what they needed to produce for their own family. The lord took control of all of the surplus, and the lord held all of the power in that society. Under slavery, the master extracted the surplus of the slaves' labor. They took all the surplus and they gave the slaves the bare minimum, the clothes to clothe them, the food to keep them alive, and the shelter that they needed to survive. And the master maintained all the rest of the surplus, and they held immense control. Then under capitalism, we have the employer-employee relationship, where the employee works, they give up their labor, they produce that labor, and then the employer, the capitalist class, the board of directors, the employer is the one that controls the surplus of that labor. They get to do all the decision making around what gets done with the surplus of that labor. And if that's the system that we have, one, it's inherently undemocratic and unequal in a way that it disgusts me to my core. I do not want to be owned or leased by another human being. I don't want anyone to have the right to own my labor. Like, it disgusts me to my core, and it's why I'm not functioning inside of the capitalist system right now. I'm unemployed and I can't get a job right now because I hate it so much that I can't. I go on these rants at work. You saw what just happened. If somebody says the wrong thing, they try to talk to me sideways about goddamn Obama or something, I fucking lose my shit, and I gotta tell them, like, about this shit, and be like, no, you're fuck you in your bull. You know, I don't say fuck you. Trust me, I'm a little nicer about it in the workplace, but I go off and I defend workplace democracy, because that's the only system that I feel like is a humane, moral system. It's immoral what we're talking about. It's a moral thing that I'm talking about, but also an economic issue. But above everything, it's a moral issue to me. I don't want to be a wage slave. I don't want to have my labor. You know, I don't want to be exploited. I just don't want to be exploited. Period. And that's a crucial change to make. But you know, we're not saying that you do just that and that's going to solve all the rest of the problems. There's still a ton of issues, and that's why you really got to check out. So I highly, you gotta check out, Brian, the talk that I linked to, because that's what I believe. That socialist model, it's called A Socialist Model That Really Works. And they really are imagining what would socialism look like 5 minutes after capitalism ended. So how would it exist in the real world as the world exists today? And they talk about it in that, and they talk about it with some great minds. Ben Burgess, Bhaskar Sankara, Lee Phillips jumps in on the conversation. Lee Phillips has written, multiple books, I believe, or he definitely writes on the topic of market socialism, something that they discuss in detail, the Schweikart model, which is a model of like, talking about market socialism essentially, and how to use that as a transition essentially into, what they call FDS, or full democratic socialism. And that's our goal, but we know we're not going to be able to get full democratic socialism. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get full democratic socialism like the 5 minutes after capitalism ends, but there is a path that we can travel to get there. We must first end the expropriation of wealth of the working class by the ruling class. We have to end that first, and that's the end of capitalism. Means we end the employer-employee relationship. That's what they see as the end of capitalism. But now, how do you move forward? We're still going to have to interact with other socialist businesses in a market system initially, because that's how we know how to interact right now. And they talk all about that model, and just trying to imagine what socialism could really look like. And you'll see in that argument, which I totally agree with everything you hear from Bhaskar Sankara and Ben Burgess in there, all the conclusions that they make, I 100% agree with. And you'll hear them talk about how there's a certain thing, what do they call it? The commanding heights of society. The commanding heights of society, we're likely not going to be able to control in such a democratic way per se. We're going to have to do some representative democracy, some we're going to have to do some something less than full, like what we like a fully democratic, thing. It will have to be more representative. We're going to have some nationalized programs, Medicare for all, other things. We have to, like, regulations can't be done on you can't do democratic workplaces and they all get to decide how to regulate their own businesses. We're still going to have a state apparatus that, because I'm not an anarchist. I still believe in having a state apparatus, and so I still believe that there's a ton of stuff that we're going to have to do collectively as a state. I just think that it would be more democratic under workplace democracy, and that we can actually achieve these goals and hold on to the gains that we make when we achieve those things. Brian Dew says, I'll check it out. One issue is, what do we do with the economic policy levers that exist today? And one is, what levers should we design for the future? Yeah, absolutely. And they talk about that in this discussion. And I think it's a great, discussion to hone in on, and something that needs more spoken discussion. More, we need to do more research and do more writing on the topic, as well as leftists. Ben Burgess and Bhaskar Sankara are actually working on a book together right now called what they're calling The Blueprint, where they're going to lay out in detail. And I am anxiously awaiting that book, called The Blueprint, and they're going to lay out a model for socialism. I love Bhaskar Sankara's book, The Socialist Manifesto. I'm so afraid of pulling down things off of my bookshelf because it fell last time, and I don't want it to fall again. But this book here, The Socialist Manifesto, The Case for Radical Politics in an Era of Extreme Inequality by Bhaskar Sankara. He's the editor of Jacobin Magazine, which I subscribe to, thanks to the support of our Patreon patrons, including you, Brian. So thank you for that. Deeply appreciate it. He wrote an amazing first chapter in this book where he imagines what socialism would look like. He imagines a model for what socialism could look like in the real world. And it's a really great, it's funny, engaging. That first chapter is just amazing. Check it out. Everybody should read this book, The Socialist Manifesto by Bhaskar Sankara. But he's done this before, and I really look forward to seeing them lay this out again and in detail. But definitely check out that talk that they did, because it went into a lot of these issues and talked about, and you'll see that the people that I'm on the side with and who I agree with, it's not all about saying that workplace democracy is going to solve every problem. It's just that That is the fundamental change that we must make. And if we're saying we're going to focus on 100 other issues before we focus on that, we're fucked. We're fucking screwed. We're fucking done. The other stuff that we do is just, it's going to get undone. It's going to get taken away from us. It will be undone by the capitalists. And I think that we are screwed. We gotta start to, chew gum and walk at the same time. And we got to focus on the issue of workplace democracy while not losing sight of things like, Medicare for all and better economic policy, stuff that promotes like rules that say you have to put like 45% of the people in your, 45% of your board of directors have to be elected by the workers, and they have to be workers that are elected by other workers. Like stuff like that will help because we see it help in Germany. I wish Ben 2K were with us right now. He could tell us about how things are in Germany over there. But, in Germany, they got massive participation in unions and things are way better for them. So Brian says the U.S. can borrow a lot of stuff from the Nordics. Finland has very little poverty, even among groups like single moms. Yeah, like I totally am down for transitioning through a Scandinavian model, and things like that. But I think that we have to jump further than that. What I'm looking at more is like Marcora law in Italy. I think looking at the Emilia Romagna region of Italy is really like, that they're doing, strong economy and they produce a third of the GDP is produced by worker cooperatives there. And I think that those are the sorts of things that we have to look at for a model as well. And Brian Du says the question is, what is the most efficient way to end poverty? I totally agree. And I don't think that that's done through like workplace democracy, because some people are going to not have jobs. And like, what happens when you don't have a job? You still need, income, you still need money. And so we have to have a state that provides that. And I totally believe that we can have, Brian says worker poverty is part of poverty, but workers are only half of people. Yeah, exactly. Like not everybody's a worker. Not everybody can have a job. And so I don't just believe in workplace democracy as the end all be on that. That's the only thing that we can do. We have to have other means. But if we don't do workplace democracy right alongside that stuff and fight, it's got to be 50% workplace democracy, 50% everything else. Because if we're not making that fundamental change, we're not fighting against capitalism. We're saying, well, let's keep capitalism in place and we're going to do reforms. We're going to reform capitalism. And I've talked about this on the show before. We've dropped some links about, Richard Wolff talking about this. If we're just going to reform capitalism, the reforms will get undone because they always get undone wherever they exist. Give Finland some time. I promise you give Finland enough time. And with all these things, like watch, they're just at the beginning of their arc and stuff. It's like, give them a couple hundred years, and capitalists here to have to go run over there and start to do damage over in their countries and stuff. They in Germany and in Europe. I mean, look at Brexit in UK. Like people can make gains and then undo the progress that they make. It happens all the time. There are always backslides. And I am totally okay with going after some of those models, but I don't want to do the thing where we make things slightly better for ourselves and then the next generation just gets screwed over again. So I really want to be fighting on a fight that's like a lasting, sustainable fight. And I think that workplace democracy, the fight for workplace democracy is the core thing, because I think that everything else can sort of, we can then do, it'll free us up to do all the other stuff when we actually control that surplus, because now we have all that power. It's not going to be taking 25% like we were talking about in the Discord. It's going to be taking 100%, and we get 100% of the control and let the workers control that. And I guarantee you, because the workers, their family members are also going to be the unemployed and this and that, you're going to get more concerned about poor working people and stuff. Brian Du says children, elderly, disabled, students, unemployed, caregivers, etc. don't get paid by workplaces, even if they are democratic. Absolutely. And Brian Du says, and the answer is to give poor people money. Yeah. You've heard me advocate on the show before. I did a segment before. I've advocated, time and time again for a social security for all, a universal basic income. I do believe that is Brian Du says social security is an example of a program that pays non-workers and it's the main tool for reducing poverty. Yes, thanks to you. We highlighted that on the show when we covered the 2019 poverty report. And we saw that social security was the number one program that staved off prevented people from falling into poverty. So Social Security was the #1 program that prevents people from falling into poverty. Why the hell would we not expand that program to every single American? Just give it to everybody. Because my thing is, as soon as we means test it, we're fucked. It's not going to work out. It never works when we try to means test. One, it's a gross thing to have to prove your poverty. Like, it's a shitty thing to do. I've been on food stamps before. I've been on food stamps when I was a kid. I've been on food stamps when I was an adult. All right. And it sucks to have to prove how poor you are. It's one of the shittiest feelings. It's time consuming. It's just garbage. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Nobody should have to do that. So I don't want a means tested Social Security program. I want a universal basic income. I think that a universal guaranteed income is a possibility. Universal guaranteed income versus universal basic income. Universal guaranteed income says you get an income. You got to make sure that your income is at least this much. If your income isn't at least this much, we're going to give you that income to make up for it. So we'll supplement it. So we'll give you whatever you need to make your income that much. So, but all that does, I feel like, is like, allows employers to like pay nothing, pay lower wages and just have the government make up for it to give people living wages. So I don't necessarily, like, I'm fine. If that's what we got to do, like, fine, I'm fine with that. But just give a guaranteed income at least, and make sure we have a guaranteed income. And that way you stop the like flow of money into rich people. But here's the thing. I got a better way to do that. Just give it to everybody and tax the fuck out of the rich people so that you take it all back in taxes. So give it to everybody. Give the $1,000 or $2,000 a month to everybody, but raise the taxes on rich people by $2,000 a month. So even if they get it, they're giving it right the hell back. So that's the better way to me, because it's a universal program, and universal programs are so difficult to undo. Just historically, Social Security, Medicare, these programs that are, even when they're universal over a certain age, it's just like age limit, everybody gets them, but it's just over a certain age. Those programs are so hard to undo. So let's just take that same program and just make the age, instead of being 65, make it 0. And that's all I wholeheartedly support that. And I'm in that fight, and I'm out here advocating for it. But I'm also advocating for workplace democracy, damn it. Brian Dew says, if low interest rates start to create a bubble, the bubble should be popped. But overall, low rates are better for working people. Gotcha. Okay. That's good clarification. Thank you, Brian. Love Brian and love the knowledge Brian drops. I'm glad we mentioned him. I called him out. See, that's the help to call you out, because not that was a real call out. I was just talking trash about you behind your back, I thought. But glad you jumped in and chatted, because you stay dropping some knowledge, Brian, and we appreciate it. Do we want to get to any more comments before we go? We're at the 3-hour mark. I did not think that we were going to make a 3-hour show with this. I'm actually surprised that we pulled it off. I don't know if that's a good thing. My super producer is looking at me like, I think she might have just stared through my soul. Okay. So I think that means let's get the hell off. Let's sign off. Do we have any other comments that we want to get to before we go? Okay. My super producer says I talk too long, so who knows?
I don't think so. There was just a bunch of other topics, but it's off topic.
Yeah. I'll run X's comment here. X says, give a person a fish, they eat for a day. Teach them a fish, they eat for a lifetime. Everyone should be given a homestead, food, water, shelter as a starting point. Yes, and those are the kinds of things that we need to do as a society. Like, I think that housing for all has to happen on a societal level, on a state level. You got to build public housing. Like, I am all for it, and I want to do that at the same time. Like, we got to do that simultaneously. But I also think that one of the ways that you get there is that you build up more workplace democracy, and you get more people fighting for you. You get more people out of the destitution, and you'll get more people that understand how democracy works. They'll be more interested in participating in democracy, and then they'll come over there and they will fight along with us. But you got to give people something material to get them interested and get them engaged, to engage those 100 million non-voters. The way you do that is that you got to change their material lives. You want to know a really good way to change somebody's material life? A lot of those people are working class people, and the majority of them are working people, and people that can work if you give them a decent job. And a great way to materially change somebody's life is to make them their own boss. To say, you're going to get to go into work the next day, and you're going to be able to be your own boss. You're going to be able to control your workplace democratically. Is definitely something that materially changes people's lives. And so I think that that's something that we can be aiming for. But that's not the only fight. And I definitely think that we got to fight along multiple fronts at once. We should certainly be fighting along multiple fronts. The reason that you hear me advocate for workplace democracy above everything so much, and why you hear people like Richard Wolff advocate for it so much above everything else, is that there's not enough people talking about this. If other people were talking about it, then we wouldn't have to talk about it all the time, because we could also say, we could bring in the other stuff, but there's nobody talking about this stuff. And if you like us believe that it's such a fundamental critical change to make and nobody else is talking about it, then you're like, okay, well, this is what I got to focus on, because not enough people are talking about this thing. And so I wish if once more people start talking about it, you'll see, I will. And I don't think that I don't, my whole program isn't all about workplace democracy. I try to bring that into the conversation, but I think I try to do a good job of advocating for different policies. I mean, Medicare for all is one of my biggest, that's the biggest thing I fight for. I mean, I was out there fighting for Bernie Sanders. I'm a Bernie bro. Bernie Sanders was not talking about workplace democracy. Bernie Sanders did not have a real program for workplace democracy. I drove from Massachusetts and New Hampshire, knocked on doors, made phone calls for Bernie Sanders. I wholeheartedly believed in Bernie Sanders' program. Medicare for all, Green New Deal, fight for 15, cancel student loan debt. Like, those things need to happen. I am totally, housing as a human right, totally in favor of all of that stuff. I mean, housing as a human right, that's one of my fundamental things. I think we need to build public housing, for all. We need public housing for all. All right. X says this country could easily give everyone a plot of land with a modest house, water, catchment, and edible landscaping. 100%. 100%. We got enough space. We got enough resources. We could absolutely do that. X is also sustainable off-grid energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can do this, and we can do this, and that would give so many jobs to so many people. And it would also make, it would build better infrastructure, and it would give us all better lives. And like, the only thing stopping us is neoliberal corporatist hacks that keep on, reactionary, that want to go back to some fantasy time where the world was better for them, but it wasn't better for the people that I know. It's not been better for them. Brian Dew says, I don't support means testing in any way. Yeah, I've never heard Brian argue in favor of means testing ever. And so I know that you are not out here standing for means tested programs. But Brian says, but the program should be group-based. Yeah, and I do agree with that. Like, Brian says, workers already have income. We could give them more and then take it away, but we could also just exclude that group. Like, I get it, but listen, so this is the argument against that. This is my argument against that. It's also Richard Wolff argument against it. I've heard other people make the argument against it, but this is my argument against that, Brian, which is that what you are doing in that situation is that you are setting up a division between two sets of people. You're setting up two classes of people, and we're creating two new classes where there will be a new class warfare, and the classes will exist between, there's going to be two classes of people. There's going to be one class of people that are people that have to work to earn a living, and there's another class of people that don't have to work and they get to earn a living. And if you set that dynamic up, it's essentially you're setting up a tension between those people that is going to create, major rifts amongst those people, where you're going to have some people feel like, well, why do I have to work to earn a living? I got to go out there. I got to get up. I got to work every day. And these people don't, and if it's because they're elderly or they're disabled, like, that's fine. I want to take care of the elderly. The elderly they're not in the group of people that need to be working. You should be retired at like fucking 50 or like 55 max. Like, you should be retired. You should not be working after 60. No human being should be working after 60 years old. Like, so I don't count elderly people. Like, they're not the people. Disabled people, like, we're all going to look around. We all have a disabled person in our lives. My brother was a quadriplegic, like, I'm a working person, but those people are typically, they have parents, they have other people that are working people, because you got to be working in the society to survive. So somebody around you has to be working. And so, like, those people will have people in their lives or whatever. So, like, you're going to have, just on a human moral level, you're going to say, I want to take care of the people that can't take care of themselves. Of course, children, disabled, elderly, for sure. But the rest of us, if you create a system where you say the only group that matters is whether you're working or not working. If you're working, you're not going to receive this. If you're not working, you're going to receive this money. As soon as you do that, I'm sorry, but you're creating a tension in the system that I think will be unsustainable, because You're going to have those two groups fighting each other. I'm going to want to not work and make money, because who the hell wouldn't want to do that? You know, why are those people going to go out and work and do it? You know, if you're able to work, you should have to work. What we should do is split up the work evenly. We can do it through, you know, maybe through like advanced AI and stuff like that, that can do these calculations, supercomputing, that could really calculate out and figure out, hey, how many people do we need in order to, sanitation and all these things that are like necessary things, right? Like we would figure out what's the necessary, the required, work that must be done in order to sustain life, right? We would say, what's that bare minimum of work in my world? We would figure out what that bare minimum was. And then we would split that work up amongst all capable people. So all able-bodied people over, within a certain age range, within a certain age range, all able-bodied people would split up that work amongst us. So if it's, and you got to figure out a fair way, and in the way you incentivize some of the less desirable jobs like sanitation workers and things like that, those should be some of the highest paid positions. The least desirable work should be the highest paid work. So the jobs that nobody wants, the coal miner, the sanitation person, it's even some of these like nursing, teaching, like these jobs that are harder jobs or whatever, those should be the highest paid jobs. The least desirable jobs that nobody wants to do, those should be the highest paid jobs in society. And that should be what incentivizes people to do those. But then we should also share in that work. In Jamaica, there is no sanitation department. Everybody takes care of their own, managing their own waste. Now, I don't think that's the perfect thing, but that's how it has to work. It's a rural area. There's no way that they're going to have the infrastructure to be doing like a sanitation department. It just does not exist. Everybody manages their own waste. You know what happens? People don't create waste. My family, I lived in a way that it's so natural and not harmful to the planet. You just don't harm the planet in the first place. You don't create a bunch of waste. You don't use a bunch of plastics and things like that. You have to manage your own waste because there's nobody coming to pick it up. So when you have to manage it, you can't just keep creating bags and bags of trash. If there was no sanitation department in the US and you had to manage your own trash, imagine what this world would look like. Like, imagine what it would look like. And I'm not saying that that's the solution. Like, we shouldn't have a sanitation department or anything. I'm just saying we have to recognize that if a job is so undesirable, we might all have to share in it. We might have to recognize that, well, if nobody wants to go grow food for everybody else, if it turns out that there aren't enough farmers that are there that want to grow food, and we don't have the technology and the farmers there to grow organic, healthy food for everyone, then guess everybody's going to have to share in the work, and we're all going to have to grow a little bit of our own food, and we're going to have sustainable things. We're going to have local sustainability, and we're going to grow our own food. And that's how we're going to have to share in that work. But that's the way that I would break that up. And we would have to find a way for that work to be split up amongst us. And maybe that means that we all work, 20 hours a week max, or 10 hours a week, that we all got to put in, and we all put in 10 hours a week, right? Every person that's able-bodied again. And trust me, there are plenty of people that are like, have some disabilities that still want to do stuff. They still want to contribute to society. Everybody wants to feel like they're contributing to society. I have family members that suffer from, certain, developmental disabilities. I got family that suffers from that. They still want to contribute to society, and they still want to feel like a part of society. And so, and not that I'm saying like work isn't the end all be all. I want to get to a point where nobody has to work and where we all get to just live in some like gay luxury space communism, like that's what I want to see happen eventually. But like, in the meantime, there is some amount of work that has to be done. It has to be done. And we should figure out a way to split up all that work amongst every capable person that can contribute. And then all the rest of them, we will take care of them because they need to be taken care of. But don't create two classes of people, one worker, one non-workers who are able to get things. If they're able to work, if you're capable of working, and if you're able to work, you should have to work until we get rid of work entirely for all of us. But there should be no upper class, underclass, or anything like that being created.
I don't really see it as creating two classes when those two differences already exist. I don't know.
Tammy's saying that. Yeah. So Brian says half of the population, children, elderly, caregivers, students, disabled, other half of the population, workers. Yeah. Like listen, a student is a type of work, right? So student is a type of work. That's a type of work. Like, we're not going to look at that. That should be paid work, to be honest. Some students, in other countries, they give them stipends, so that is work. Being a student is work. And so you're talking about, that's more than you're taking in now. That's a lot more than half of the population, right? But Brian says, right now we make the first half rely on living with the second half for income, right? Listen, this creates households that are really uneven. Elderly people are the exception because of Social Security. Add Social Security-like programs for children, make the programs for disabled more generous, and you've solved a huge portion of U.S. poverty. And Tammy says, agreed. So are you saying the people who can't / aren't working should get the income, and workers shouldn't need additional income because their employers should be giving them enough money to not need supplemental money? That's what I'm getting / agree with, but I'm getting lost on the difference between Kamali versus your point. So Brian says, here's an example. Every household earns a good income. One household has 2 working people and no children. So let me really absorb this. So every household earns a good income. One household has 2 working people, no children. The second household is a single mom with 3 kids. Okay.
So that's 2 incomes for 2 people versus 1 income for 4 people.
Yes. Yep. So good way that Tammy just phrased that is that means that's 2 incomes. Sorry, can you go back to that? So it was 2 incomes for 2 people, and the second one is 1 income for 4 people. All right. So Brian says, even with a good wage, the second household has 1/4 the per capita income of the first. Yep. Welfare is the way to make it fair between households with more or less of the groups I mentioned. I'm not for saying some able-bodied people have to work and some don't, or something like that. And he clarifies, he says, Tammy, sorry, yes, workers should get paid well by their workplace. Yeah. So Brian's saying with the caveat here that workers are getting enough, a living wage from the workplace. The thing is that I don't think that we're going to create a totally egalitarian, everybody's equal society, right? There is going to be some measures of inequality, because some things are just like, it's arbitrary, and what you even call equal is like difficult, right? But like, even economically, I think that there is going to be some and I think some inequality is okay. Like, some inequality. It just can't be, such a wide, vast inequality. It can't be a vast inequality. So some inequality is okay. Even in Mondragon. So in Mondragon, worker cooperative of worker cooperatives in Spain, in Basque region of Spain, that's a socialist democratic workplaces. Even there, it's not like every worker makes the same amount. They have rules in each workplace, and the highest differential, they set differentials. They say, what's the difference between the lowest worker and the highest paid worker? And in on average, it's the highest actually that it goes is 8 times, and the highest and the most that the largest differential is a worker being able to make 8 times what another worker makes. In some places it's 2 times. In some places it's 1-to-1. Everybody makes the same amount. But some places, you pay people different amounts, right? Even within a single workplace, some people are going to specialize in certain things. And I think that it's fair to say that if you specialize in something, hey, maybe you should get paid a little bit more, right? So there's going to be some inequality. I know it's not to the level that you're talking about there, right? But like, there's going to be some that it could be 4 times, right? In Mondragon, it's up to 8 times. So you're already creating an up to 8 times differential between one person per capita to another, right? You're creating an 8 times differential. That's not necessarily such a problem to me. The problem becomes when it's too vast, right? When it's too much of when that inequality is too vast, that's when it becomes problematic to me. And so I think that I would be okay with a worker getting a boost on top of what they're already making because they're working. It's something to be said. Listen, if I'm disabled, I would look at it and say, because listen, I've been out of work for a year, I'm an unemployed person. I do think that working people deserve more than I deserve. They're out there working and I'm not working. They're having to physically give their labor over in this uncomfortable way to an organization they might not fully believe in because they want to help society. I think that person deserves more money for that. I don't think that that's a terrible thing to say. So the fact that workers are going to get more in this way or whatever, I don't think it's a problem. I think that's why I would just do it universally and give everybody the boost, and then tax some of it back through payroll taxes, tax some of it back out. You wouldn't tax all of it back for the lower income or, middle class people. You wouldn't tax it all back. For the rich, for the top 1%, yes, you would tax it all back. But for the other people, you might tax back 75%. You might tax back 50%, you might tax back 25% for some people, and you can allow that inequality to exist, because I think that's a fair that's a fair inequality there. Some people are working, they're having to do something. And some people, I know it's totally not their fault or whatever, but also they are able to be taken care of by the rest of society in a way that they still be comfortable, right? I'm not saying those people should absolutely be getting a living income, a dignified living income. So I'm talking a universal basic income that touches everybody and make sure that it creates a bare minimum that is livable, that is survivable. It's a surviving living wage. It's a dignified living, income. And then also give that to the workers, because they're working and they're out there, and also you don't create the tension of the two people having to say, wait, I want to just not work. And what if everybody then says, well, I'm not going to work because I'm not going to work because I'll take whatever that is coming in there and I won't work. Well, we need to incentivize people to work. So we got to give them a little something more. And I don't think that there's something necessarily wrong with that. I'm okay with that, that dynamic of creating some inequality there. I think that a universal basic income would help that family of 4, that single mom with 3 kids. She would have a universal basic income that would cover not just her, but all of those kids. My universal basic income, I said lower the age to 0, not to 16. I said to 0. So children, elderly are covered in my universal basic income. They're all getting it. And so all of our children would be getting a basic income. She would, when they were under 16, the income would go to the guardian, the parent or guardian. That income would flow in through the parent or guardian when they were under 16. If they're over 16, they would get the payment directly to themselves. But that's my argument there. What's up?
Okay, so
Super producer's just pulling up some comments there. Oh man, I'm so thirsty. I need to
drink.
The problem is I'm running out. I have nothing. All right. I'm gonna have to go soon because I need to wet my whistle, as they say. My throat is killing me, y'all, and I gotta get something to drink, and I'm not gonna step away and walk away. Here. I can't believe I showed my belly on this episode. I need to edit that part out. I'm not going to release this to the public. All right. Oh, Brian Dew says, I'm not saying all wages should be the same. Yep. Brian says, the point was that we can't solve the poverty problem with making all workplaces pay a good wage. Yes, for sure. Absolutely agree with that. We are 100% in lockstep there. You cannot solve the poverty problem. Yep. Brian says, because some households contain people who can't or shouldn't work. Yep, absolutely. Work in the workplace. They work in other ways. Yes, and that's another point. They might work in the home, in a way, and that's absolutely work. And I'm not trying to disparage them. Yes, because housework is work. Tammy says, okay, yes, we agreed that the good wages thing is one part of the solution for workers, and welfare is the rest of the solution for non-workers. Yes, we are all in agreement there. And Brian says workers would still get more. And Tammy says, and of course that applies to people who work, then stop, then work again, or anything like that. I just don't know how we guarantee that those workers get more with capitalist business necessarily. Like a minimum wage, is that how we would do that? I guess so. Yeah. Tammy says, I think I'm disagreeing with Kamali here. If the point is saying workers should get welfare on top of good wages simply because they're working versus disabled people who just get welfare income for not working. Yeah. It's fine that y'all disagree with me. I welcome disagreement with open arms. I just think and know that I'm right and y'all are wrong, but that's okay. No. Brian says, my argument for Kamali is that jobs should be good jobs and pay well. Yeah, I just don't know how we guarantee that. And just do it let the government solve the problem. Brian says, and they shouldn't need income for the worker. They just need income for the non-workers. Yeah, I just think you're creating a tension there that is going to cause
You're not creating.
No, you are creating a tension because you're saying there is no tension right now. There is no, but nobody gets money incoming from the government like that, like as a non-worker automatically by default. There's just no such thing. We all get a unemployment insurance, and then once you fall off unemployment, you're fucked. If you're not disabled, you are fucked.
No, but I'm saying there are still people who will.
You need that, but yeah,
the employed hate the unemployed already, or people on disability or welfare already, and it's not even good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There would be no unemployed in my system. I'm saying we all would be employed, 100% employment, no employed versus unemployed. If you are able to, you have to work, because we all have to recognize that there is an amount of work. Hold on, there is an amount of work that must be done in order to sustain society. There is some set of work. The food needs to be grown, the houses need to be built, the roads need to be maintained. That must be done. And what I'm saying is that you then have to break that work up amongst every single capable person. And if you're not able-bodied, that's fine. You're going to be taken care of, because we all agree on a moral level that those people should be taken care of.
Yeah.
Brian Du says, because the worker already has income and the non-workers don't. Yeah, but to me, they have the income because they're doing work. If they're non-workers, but we got to define what a non-worker is versus somebody incapable of working versus, I'm talking about people, because the people incapable of working, I don't think there's any of us that are out here. We all agree, like we all support like Social Security right now, Social Security program that exists. If you're disabled right now, we do say you get taken care of in a certain way, right? If you're disabled and you can prove you're disabled and you're white, typically, not for Black people initially, we all know the history of Social Security. I'm not just being, whatever. Look at the history of Social Security. It was racistly implemented. It wasn't going to Black people. But whatever, you can get those sorts of things, we already do that. And so I'm not saying, like, what I'm saying is that if you say that if you just say worker versus non-worker, and every non-worker is getting this, and then some people are just allowed to be non-workers that just choose not to work, and then they still get to collect a wage that's equal to the wages of the people that are working, or Brian says it wouldn't be equal, it would just be something livable, which again I support. I just don't understand, why would we not want to give that money to the worker as well, and just not rely on the business place to give this extra amount in? Why can't we supplement them further and say, hey, it's just to everybody? And that makes it so much easier. Brian, it also creates, it eradicates the need for a large bureaucracy where you then have to determine whether somebody's a worker or a non-worker. Now I have to prove that I'm working or not working. Why not just get rid of that and just give it to everybody? Boom. No big bureaucracy to manage this thing. Like, otherwise it creates big bureaucracies that then get they always get racistly implemented, misogynistically, sexistly implemented, every which way that they can bias these things, they bias them. So I just think give it to everybody, and it just solves a problem. Universal programs are what I advocate for. And it's not universal if you say you have to prove you're a worker versus non-worker. Just give it to every person, every single person, every single citizen. Boom, you got it. You're not going to fight against that program because everybody's getting it. It's really hard to undo those things. Brian says, I get why it seems more complicated, but the alternative is to tax it back out from workers, which is actually more messy in the end. I don't see how necessarily, like, I don't see how it's everybody's getting this amount. You just tax up to that amount. You just say, I'm taxing this up to this amount or whatever. I'm taxing X% out of it up to a certain amount. That's how our payroll taxes work right now. It's up to 140, 6,000 or something. So everything up to 146,000 gets taxed. If you're taxing at an X% rate, you know exactly what the cap is. So we know exactly how much the cap on a Social Security payment is, a Medicare payment is, for somebody making whatever the maximum amount of money. We know where it maxes out at. So I don't see how it could be that messy. And we should all enjoy paying the taxes, and it'll feel like, I make more money, it feels good, and then I pay back into the system and I feel even better because I feel like I'm supporting my fellow comrades, and I think that it will feel like solidarity and camaraderie. Brian says, I think the problem here is that I'm using the term non-workers. But I mean children, elderly, disabled, students, caregivers. Yeah, see, children, elderly, and disabled are already covered under Social Security. I'm saying we already give them Social Security, and we should continue to give them children aren't. Disabled and elderly are. I say give it to children, and I say give it to adults too in that case, and just give it to everybody so that you don't got to go prove it. I guess, I could be, I'm okay with the program like that. I just think that it's a weaker program that is more likely to get undone, unfortunately. Tammy says he considers students should be labeled as workers too, because schoolwork counts as work, which I agree with. Yeah, like schoolwork is a part of working, and you're doing a favor for society. Brian says taxing it out still requires the bureaucracy. Yes, I do get that, but I think we already have the bureaucracy in place for taxes. It's like, I don't think if you put another line item on the tax, on your taxes, I don't think that creates a need for a new system of bureaucracy. It's literally just like now next to your Social Security, entitlement, whatever tax, your all the entitlements tax, you just add that one next to it, and it's just one more that they're going to calculate out. I don't think that it adds to the bureaucracy per se. Yeah, I'm seeing some more Brian's comments about like the disabled benefits being way too low. I totally agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. That's why I'm like, it's got to be a dignified living wage. Like, it has to be a dignified living wage that we're giving to these people. And Brian points out children are not covered. I'm corrected myself, when I said that, yep, children are not covered. And that's why. But now you're gonna have to do something like under 18, over this age, kind of thing. And, I'm fine with it. I think it's okay. I just think that it's like less people feeling it, less people getting that payment, seeing that money come in. And that's less people that are going to support that policy. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying we can bribe these people into supporting the policy by just giving them the money too. And saying, you get the money too. You're not going to go fighting against it when you get the money. But the majority of people are workers. They are workers at one point or another. And if the majority of people are workers at one point or another, and you feel like, hey, how come I don't get this thing or whatever, and these people not working do, then I just feel like it opens the possibility for them to fight against it, or to feel like they're being, somehow they're not getting, as much as, these folks that are not working are getting. But
okay,
hold on, you're muted.
No, I'm not.
I'm not hearing you.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Nope. Yep. You can see that it's not showing your audio on the thing. It's not like check the mic. Is the mic muted?
No.
Yes, it is. I see it blinking.
God damn it. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'm getting confused. I don't know if it's because might be tired or whatever, but we've established that workers would be getting good wages, and that can be any, whatever's considered good wages, and it doesn't have to be all the same, because workers can be paid different amounts for different jobs and employers or whatever. So you're saying they should also get quote unquote welfare income as well as all the other people who aren't able to work.
Yeah, they would.
So everyone would be getting that quote unquote welfare income, but then if you work, then you just get additional income. Is that what it's saying? What did you tell me to do?
You gotta mute yourself so that I can talk, or else we're gonna get an echo.
Okay.
So every time you did you unmute? Did I unmute? Okay. So yes, exactly. That on top of so everybody would get the welfare payment. Workers would get it when they were working, when they stopped working, whatever the case was. They would all, workers would get it, as well as the non-workers would all get the same payment. But workers would get taxed on that payment because they're the ones paying taxes, because they're the workers. And non-workers would not get taxed. Obviously everybody pays a tax up from the payment itself, but I'm talking about paying a tax to get the payment itself. So yeah. Yeah. Brian says, LO, we should cut it. I'm talking in circles. Yeah, we both are probably at this point. Brian did make the point, though, that every person was once a child, just like, and that I do consider that, quote, sort of a universal program in that way. I think it's like universal light, but it is universal in that sense of like, everybody's was once a child. Not everybody is necessarily like makes it to elderly, because all the systems are set up that people die young and all those sorts of things, lower life expectancy. So not everybody gets to make it to the same age. But everybody is a child, everybody gets to make it through the childhood, for the most part. And so I agree that that is good that everybody would be, would get that.
Okay, so I'm definitely tired, so the thoughts are literally fading from my head as we speak. But I guess my only issue, which probably would be resolved if we continue this conversation in Discord at another time, is it just comes off sort of ableist to be like, oh, working people deserve more than, people who aren't able to work. But I guess in a way, if you're just saying they just get additional wages for working, okay, that's fine, I guess. So basically, the thing isn't like a welfare income, it's a universal guaranteed income or whatever for everyone. And then if you choose to work and you're able to work, then you would just be making additional money on top of the money you already have. So you're not working to survive. The only issue was it was just coming off like, oh, if you work, then you deserve more kind of thing. But I feel like we can talk about that more in the Discord and it would be clarified.
So I understand that that's, it's a good point. It can come across ableist, I'm certain, but I would hope that it wasn't, that people would recognize that going and physically toiling is something that should be seen as something that, okay, you know what? I want those people to make more. If I get to, and I get it. Some people are literally physically incapable of doing it, but you know what? Those people are being taken care of. You know how society used to work to those people? Fucking survival of the fittest, and you fucking leave them out to die. And that's the shitty way that society's handling it. In society, in some ways, we still fucking leave those people like that, So like what we're saying is we're going to give them more, but we're also going to make sure that workers who are at the people that have to, do the things that keep the society running, so that all the rest of us, because I'm not a worker right now, so that all the rest of us can continue to survive, can continue to exist. And so, yeah, I don't think that it's able to say that those people that are doing that physical labor, we all should recognize as socialists, as leftists. And I want all the disabled folks to I hope that they would be left, on the left as well, or be of the left, and recognize that too, that physical, that labor is something that is undesirable to do. This isn't stuff that we want to do. Nobody wants to go out there and be the garbage man, or the, like, people don't want to do this stuff. You don't want to go there. You got to deal with all kinds of things. You got to risk your safety some more. You got to risk your health, all these different things or whatever, to do work or whatever. And work is this thing that it's like, again, it's the critical things, the fundamental things that are needed in order for the rest of us to survive. Just the bare minimum, growing the food, building the houses, all that sort of stuff. I think that it's okay to say that those people should get a little bit more for doing that. And I don't think that it's ableist to say that. I think that it's, and I could be wrong on this, that it's ableist or whatever, but it's like, because I'm saying some people do in society. Some people are going to get more than others. And I don't think that it's crazy to say one of the lines that we draw that along, we're going to say a specialist deserves more than a non-specialist. So why are we able to say that? Because they're both workers. One deserves more than the other. We say that, but we're not allowed to say that a working person deserves more than a person that's unable to work for whatever reason. I don't, whatever the reason is. I just think that, one, you don't need as much money because you're not working. You don't have to do the same travel. You don't got the same, necessarily the same safety risks that you're being put into every day. I still, I want those other people to be taken care of, to live good, decent, dignified lives, totally better than what they're living right now. I just don't want, I'm just afraid of any sort of, tension being created, because all these the analysis of these systems are all about trying to identify the inherent tensions in an economic system and try to resolve those tensions. Because when you have those inherent tensions, like capitalist, employer employee, the inherent tension in that system, then it leads to undesirable results for all of us. And I just want to avoid that and give everybody dignified lives, and then say, yeah, you know what? The people that are working, because I know they'll get bitter otherwise, we're going to give you a little bit more because you're working and you're doing this thing and you're helping the rest of us to not have to do that thing. we appreciate that. You're doing, the necessary things for society. Appreciate it.
Okay, I get your point better now, and I'm gonna say this quickly before the thought fades away from my head. So basically, it's honestly a very small point. Basically, if you look at it as everyone gets, very comfortable, livable income or whatever guaranteed, and then if you're able to work, then you're able to get that additional income, but you're not being paid more or given more because you're working, as in you don't deserve more just because you're capable of working compared to people who aren't. But if it's your choice then to do the work to get that extra income, and it's honestly just a framing thing. So
yeah,
but we're all tired. Brian's tired, so we're gonna table this for Discord.
Yeah. All right, let's call it here. Brian says, thanks for the clarification. It's an important one. I need to better explain the issue here with giving it to workers without taxing it back out from them. But it's complicated and I'm tired, and I want to hear that argument, and we will definitely pick up on that. Let's call it here because I can't believe that we managed to turn this into a 3.5 hour episode here. I didn't mean for that to happen. It's going to be really hard to cut clips from this last hour and a half, to be honest. It's going to be really hard to edit clips from it, because it's not like short segments. It's a really long discussion. So, but it was a fun and engaging discussion, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brian, for engaging with this. I really love your perspective. Deeply respect you and appreciate it. Deeply respect super producer Tammy and her perspective as well, and everybody here in the community. So thank you so much. Tammy says, yeah, we all tired, and I don't want Kamali to be too tired because I'm trying to make him watch Deadpool with me after this still. Yes, I was watching Deadpool before we started this, and it's freaking hilarious already, so I want to get back to that. So she says he's probably gonna fall asleep on me though. Big facts. Brian says Deadpool is a good idea. Yes. I need some nice comedy, action things going on. Get rid of my name. I hate looking at my own name. No, I shouldn't be biased against my beautiful name. Thank you, Ma. All right, so let's call it here. Thank you so much to everyone for engaging, for participating. Seriously, Brian, thank you so much, dude, for engaging with this. And I really, really enjoy these discussions. I hope we can have you on the show, but I know not everybody is, some people do better in writing than, in spoken word. And so we'll figure out something. We'll link up in the Discord. We'll take this offline. We'll carry this conversation on in the Discord. Tomorrow we can pick up tomorrow and the day after, and not on the holiday. Everybody enjoy your Thanksgiving. Probably except if you're Indigenous. I don't know how much you're going to enjoy this day or whatever. Probably not a good reminder. Shout out to all my Indigenous peoples. Shout out to Leftist Reacts on YouTube. Check out their channel. # no comrades under 1K. I wish I had remembered that when we were at our peak viewers. But thank you so much to everyone. Let me take a quick look. All right. 60 playbacks. Meh. Okay. All right. So thank you so much to everyone for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, check out the description box. You'll find links to the Leftist Reacts channel. Give them a follow them on Twitter as well. And thank you to everyone for hanging out tonight for this long episode. I did so terrible early. Thank you to Brian and everyone else for commenting and saving us from my destruction. Thank you so much to everyone. We are also accepting tips on coffee. So if you would like to support the show, support Radical Democracy, support the show, support these conversations, support these discussions happening, then please head over to Coffee. Coffee.com/Radical Democracy. Links are in the description box below. And a big shout out to Brian and X, not only for subscribing on Coffee for $10 a month, but also for being just super active in the comments and in the chat tonight. It was awesome chatting with y'all. I really enjoy it. I do. X, I just love chatting with y'all. I love it. I love that I can engage with people like this that are it's intellectually honest. Good phrase that Brian brought up. They're intellectually honest, and they actually have like left views, and I don't get enough of that in my life. And like it's so nice to have this community. So thank you so much to all of you for your support and for hanging out. Thank you so much. We need to grow this channel, so we got to do something. We got to figure something out, because this channel needs to grow, because we have some dope ass conversations here and people need to hear them. So thank you so much, everyone. Peacing out. I'm not even playing out the song. We're just cutting it out here. So peace out. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll check back in with y'all, excuse me, on Friday. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll definitely be back with the show on Friday, because I did not do my show tonight, and I definitely got a topic that I absolutely need to discuss with all y'all. This cringy ass article about interracial marriages and it was so gross. And so I am the product of an interracial relationship, and so yeah, I got to speak on this, because boy, you're gonna enjoy my take. I promise you that. So and I'm also in an interracial relationship right now as well. And so I think I get to speak on this. I think I'm going to use my identity to speak on this, and to speak on it from a leftist perspective, damn it. So check that out. Look out for that tomorrow. I think we might do this tomorrow, because I'm going to be bored. I'm not going to have anything else to do. And I think I'm just going to do the show, to at least do the show from tomorrow, so that I can do a show Friday as well, with all the other stuff that I need to get to. Not about, because I have a whole bunch of stories that aren't about Joe Biden's horrible administration that I want to do as well. So I'm going to cover those on Friday for sure. Tomorrow, if I do show up tomorrow, it will be to do this episode that I was supposed to do today. I'll be covering Biden's swampy, is diverse swamp. And so come back and check that out. All right. Excess cut his mic. Yes, somebody please stop me, please.
I cut his mic.
Oh, did she?
Yes, I did.
Can you hear me right?
You're back.
Okay.
But you're about to be cut again.
All right.